Hey everybody, Scott Holden here. Before we get started with the show, I just want to take a minute to tell you where you can find us out on the interwebs. That's right. First, you can find us at ThatManOnFatman.com. That's right, ThatManOnFatman.com. It's the central hub and the place where you can find links to all the other stuff I'm about to tell you about. So we're on Twitter. You can find us there at ThatManOnFatman. We are also on Facebook. We have a Facebook page, so it's facebook.com/ThatManOnFatman. We're also on YouTube. On YouTube, you can find us at youtube.com/ThatManOnFatman podcast. We are also on Instagram, where we're ThatManOnFatman. And I believe we're even on, Snapchat as ThatManOnFatman. So you can pretty much find us on ThatManOnFatman everywhere on the internet. Please friend us. Also, if you're an iTunes subscriber, please go and give us a review. It's very helpful. It's one of the best things you can do for any show that you enjoy. So leave us a review on iTunes. If you listen on Stitcher, we're also there. We're also on SoundCloud. So check those out, and we appreciate it. And now, we hope you enjoy the show.
This is Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman, and I want to urge you to make a generous donation to the Wayne Foundation so we can stop the sexual trafficking of children. Do it, or I'll find you.
And don't forget to check out our good friend of the show, Mark Live, over at chundertunes.com for all your podcast animation needs. ThatMan on Fatman is recorded with a Zoom H6 handy recorder. Zoom for creators.
Disclaimer. The show you're about to experience is for entertainment purposes only. The hosts use mature language and conversation just like in most of life. If you're too uptight, this might not be for you. All that said, we really do hope you enjoy the show. But if you don't enjoy it, expect a nice big shipment of my joyous Joker juice on your doorstep in the very near future. Toodles!
As the world's biggest Kevin Smith fan, I appreciate the fact that somebody finally made a podcast about that interesting motherfucker. So yes, you absolutely did the right thing. I know it's kind of gross for me to be like, yes, doing a Kevin Smith podcast was fucking smart. But I do feel like it was smart. I appreciate it. I think you were right to do that.
Okay. What has two thumbs and is a huge fan of Kevin Smith? ThatMan!
What are we going to do about the pancake master?
We need a costumed vigilante is what we need. Justice can't be served unless it's being fought outside the system.
Here's what we're going to do, eh?
Oh, shit. It's ThatMan. Who is he? He's ThatMan. He's talking. What should we do?
Oh, there he goes by in the Thatmobile.
The what? Thatmobile, his car. Go get him, ThatMan.
Well, once upon a time, a regular man read a book written by the Fat Man. Tough shit, written by old Kev Smith. Kev said go out and start a podcast, and so I did, and I had a real blast. But my obsession was driving my co-host nuts. Didn't want to bring the podcast down. Needed Porkchop Murphy to hang around. So I create a new show with one heck of a plan, and I call that show ThatMan on Fatman, because we're going to chat about Kevin Smith. That's right, let's talk about old Kev Smith. Hey, everybody out there, and welcome to ThatMan on Fatman. I am your host, Scott Holden. Sitting beside me is co-host extraordinaire and producer extraordinaire, Gene Holden.
Hi, guys.
And today we have someone in the That Cave again. But before we get there, let's talk a little bit about this person. And how we managed to get him on the show, even though he's sitting right in front of us. Yes, he is sort of a mystery guest. So yesterday for the film that we're making, which is called What's a Podcast, you can find out all about that if you go to whatsapodcastmovie.com or go on Twitter to @podcastmovie.
Mhm.
Check us out. But we're filming a movie, and yesterday we shot with the podcast PBR Pod. PBR
Yeah.
Podcast, also known as,
Mhm.
it was formerly known as Pizza Beer Revolution to many, but now it's just PBR Pod. They're rebranded, but they're a nice bunch of guys. But it turns out one of their crew is a Kevin Smith fan. So we
Surprise,
said,
surprise.
So we said, "Oh my God, we got to have you on," especially since we had an opening. And we were like, "Hey, we had a cancellation." Now, why at the moment I didn't remember? Probably because
Yeah.
my head was up my ass with the filming and everything.
Yeah.
But then, as we were driving home, I'm like, "Why didn't we invite him on?"
Duh.
So yeah.
He was standing
So-
right there.
Now, for some reason, which we'll get into with this gentleman, we're not allowed to show him on camera. So what we've done is we've set up a sort of an alternate view so that you can see him. And in a moment he'll be up. But I want to welcome to the
Yeah, I saw
show
that.
at this time, Dennis the intern. Here we go. Let's see. And there he is. There's his hands. Wait, hang on.
Oh, wait, we can't see him doing
There's a way
that.
to get a picture in here somehow too. I'm not that good at all this fancy stuff. Maybe not. Oh, there it went. I figured it out, folks. I think
Are we good?
almost. Oh wait, this would help too. Dennis the
Oh.
intern, welcome to the show. Sorry.
Hey, thanks for having me.
They can
Hello.
see your hands. They just can't see
Show
us
Excellent.
me
yet.
his hands.
PBR fans will know.
There we go.
This
There
is the traditional view of Dennis the intern.
There you go. So, Dennis, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
It's so
this
exciting.
is amazing.
Yes, this is cool.
I
Very
am
cool.
in that cave. There are so many pieces of eye candy around here. I
Tchotchkes and,
cannot even concentrate,
all that.
which is good because that is my role on PBR.
That's good. Well, you don't have to worry about your role on PBR. I mean, we'll comply with the visuals.
We appreciate that.
You know, and
Dennis appreciates it too.
keep the mystery, keep you in the witness protection program or
Thank
whatever it is
you.
that you need
Thank
to
you.
be in. But we can talk about how, you know, your fanboyness, certainly in the Kev Smith department.
Yes.
And well, let's start with yesterday. So
Sure.
you got there late.
I always show up a little late. In
What were you-
fact, yeah, well, you get up, you go out there, you're like, what do I have to do? Oh, documentary.
Yeah.
So, you have to get up there, you have to move, and Jersey roads do not comply or cooperate when you're running just a little behind.
Yeah, it's funny.
But I was told I didn't have to show up until around 11.
Oh, okay.
And I have documentation to back that up. But I still
Okay.
think I showed up at like 11:03.
Yeah.
So my apologies for derailing.
No,
the
no,
entire
it
process.
wasn't. It was not really a big deal to us. I mean, but
That's
they were
also
like,
my role. on
but they were
PBR.
like, oh, he's late. You know, they kept bitching. Maybe that is your role too. Maybe they need someone to
I
kick
like to
around when
play-
you're not there.
It is. It's I think that real good, strong achievement isn't done without having an opposing force.
The guy to blame.
Or blame, but also inspire through anger.
Yeah.
So that's my role. That's the role. I'm like that curmudgeonly old Jewish mother forcing, being like an adversary to their kids just so they can go and achieve.
Yeah.
That's the role I am right there. I'm that mom. I'm that disinterested father. I'm good, Dad. I'll prove it to you. I'm always
But never
lurking.
does.
But all never does.
Yeah,
it's never
yeah.
good enough.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
But I think they need an.
But all I'm doing for them.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I have to bear the slings and arrows. So
But
that's
right.
it.
That's
They
what we
need a
always remember.
nemesis, and I'll be that happily. And there's a cat.
Yes.
A cat just happened.
As usual.
Oh my god.
It's the mascot of the show.
So-
And the only thing
And
coming
I
up
get
on
the butthole.
and the only
Yes.
thing coming up on camera
Don't we
is
all want
the
that
tail.
though? Don't we all want the butthole?
You want the butthole?
We all
Yeah,
want the
I guess
butthole.
that's everyone's dream.
Well, I guess.
And some, yeah, well, not the cat. The cat butthole usually is not the.
No, especially this one because she's a calico. Her butthole
Her butt is
represents just the same as her.
all
It's
the,
very multicolored.
the multicolored
Oh my
like a-
goodness.
It's like a mood butthole.
It's the
you know?
United Colors of Benetton.
Yeah,
in a
or,
butthole.
Butthole.
it's like looking at an oil slick. You
We said
never
butthole
really.
a lot. Is that okay? Can I say butthole?
Oh, of
You
course.
Am I
can say
being-
asshole too. I
Okay.
mean, it's fine.
Asshole's
It's-
not as
it's-
funny as butthole.
No, you're right. That's why I think the butthole surfers went with butthole.
I think they
as opposed
did.
to asshole surfers.
The asshole surfers sounds
Yeah.
so vulgar, but the
Well,
butthole
because they don't
surfers.
sound likable then. because
Yeah.
they sound like assholes.
Yeah.
Butthole is.
It's like that, you know, it was like those bad guys from Point Break. Those were the asshole surfers.
What about when like your grandma says something like your hiney hole or your, you know, your bottom hole?
It seems wrong. It seems
yeah,
a
it
little,
really, yes. It's like, why are you trying?
like tush.
Your attempted vulgarity is so
your
weird.
Bottom.
Your bottom.
Your behind circle.
I never heard that
Well,
one.
a
before.
lot of
Yeah.
see now. I remember when
You'll
the
see
kids,
that, guys. That's the butthole.
when the kids were little, people
The
would say
old balloon
bottom
knot.
because like, oh, you know, wipe your bottom because they didn't want to say any other word that was, you know.
Like go fuck your mother or something.
Well, they wouldn't say that.
Oh my goodness.
You don't want to say that to a kid on the toilet.
It's quite a
Yeah.
quite a Freudian slip. I meant to tell my kid to wipe his bottom, but I ended up saying, "You ruined my life, you fucking asshole!"
You little cunt.
You little butthole, you ruined my life.
Yes.
Yeah.
We got dark there. That's
That's all right. We'll go where
Sometimes
you got to let it go where it's going to go.
yes, and all inspired by Little Miss Cup, whose true name is Peanut Butter Cup. But
Thank you.
It was shortened along the way.
Thank you, Kat.
Yes.
Yeah, she
For
inspired
inspiring us with your asshole.
She's so gross. Whole thing.
She vomits too. You should that's like looking at a Jackson Pollock. So I mean,
Cat is like, when you own a cat. I mean, they're affectionate, but it's like on their terms. It's like
everything's right
it's like having a roommate that just doesn't really care about you.
Yes,
It's,
really.
you know, for everything in a house, it's a cat's possession.
well, actually, what you'll discover is if you have more than one cat, they really do have their own personalities. There's not one cat mold.
Mhm.
I mean, they all are sort of above you in some
Yes.
strange way.
Human, I require food.
Yes, exactly.
Well, they think they're above you.
yes, they certainly do.
They're very.
And they are. You know what? The truth is, they could get along just fine without us. That's the truth.
They really can. It's like
they
you
could
come
mouse
home,
it up, and that's it.
you're
How would
coming
they-
home after a hard day, a dog just runs up to you. It's like, oh my God, buddy, you're here. I love
Can't
you.
work a can
Oh my
opener.
God, you're the best. Oh my
I don't know
God,
how to
come
open
here.
a
Do you want to
bag.
do anything? Do you want to sit? Let's do that. Cats are like, human has returned.
Yes.
I need to be provided food.
Oh, good.
Fulfill your destiny. and
Change
feed
my
me.
box.
Well, and
There's way
I-
too much shit in my box.
and I
Get on
feed-
that.
I feed them. So what they do is when I get home,
You
they
feed
guide
them.
they guide me to the food
they shepherd
to
you.
make sure they shepherd
You've
me.
fallen
to
out
their
of
food.
feeding duties, I think, lately.
No.
Yeah, you
I
have.
haven't.
Because now it sort of looked to me a lot.
Well, good. You can do it too.
I
It's not
overfeed them
hard.
on purpose. I figure keep them fat, dumb, and happy.
Yeah. They really don't need to eat as much as we feed them.
Yes, because Allison comes over and criticizes us.
No. Well,
You're feeding them too much. You
No,
got
she
fat
doesn't.
cats.
that's
I would
not
want to do that.
criticizing. No, but she's a vet, so she wants to
Yes.
make sure that they're,
You're not talking on your mic, sweetie.
they want. Well, I don't want to talk about my friend either. But-
Side address.
So yeah.
Yeah.
She just likes to make sure that they're taken care
Am I
of.
still on camera? I think I've
Yeah,
drifted
when I
off.
do that, you can't see me.
Oh,
You're breaking stuff now.
I'm
There you-
good.
There you
So anyway,
all right.
go. So tell us about, I know you grew up actually in this area.
I did in this area.
When did you get turned on to Kev and were you diehard like from
You know what?
Clerks or
It was one of those
a
things. that-
Mallrats guy or
Well, no, it all started with Clerks. It all started with, just hearing about this movie, hearing about this guy from New Jersey that made this movie on credit cards in a dream. And, it was like, all right, well, what could this be? I wasn't an indie film guy. So, you all of a sudden you're just waiting for something to do. You got a couple friends over and they're like, well, you put on Clerks. Just thought, let's just watch this. We've heard so much about it. And then by the time the movie ended, I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, this is like one of the greatest things I've ever seen. And I don't say that with any hyperbole. Clerks, it's a top 5 movie for me. Things come in and go, but Clerks is always there. Because it took pop culture for me and just listening to, Dante and Randall just discuss pop culture with such care. And
it's a total slice of life. I mean,
it is, but it uses pop culture in a way that it's like a thesis. It's like, here's like a college level course. Here's people who not only watched, Empire Strikes Back, but thought about the implications in Jedi about how when they blow it up again, how it's like, there were a lot of, craftsmen,
but
a lot of union workers just died.
that discussion came from real life.
Mhm.
That came from Scott and
Kevin talking in a cafeteria and realizing that somebody was listening to them.
Right.
So they started taking it to absurd levels to see what the person's reaction would be.
It is.
And they would be like, they would watch them squirm and be like, or shake their head. And they got such a kick out of that. That's how it ended up in the movie.
And then he takes that theme forward with like Banky and Holden in Mallrats with the, with the superhero sex organ stuff. Again, it's just.
Although another thing, see, once you have a show on Kevin, you start to become a receptacle for all kinds of little facts. We had a guy on, it wasn't Midnight Smoke. It was Storm Raven. Storm Raven, who I think brought it to our attention that there was another guy, someone who'd published an article. Essentially, he wasn't saying that Kevin ripped it off, but he was saying that probably if he had read that article, it might have stuck in his mind and influenced that little speech.
I don't know, but there's a lot of
which is fine.
Ideas are out there.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Parallel thinking isn't necessarily stealing or cribbing or anything like that.
Here's what I believe: amateurs fucking borrow and artists fucking steal.
Well, I don't think that's the case with this anyway. I think again, you've been presented with this relationship of Clark Kent and Lois Lane.
Yeah.
And I think I like I don't know, can we talk about other stuff? Like,
go wherever you want, man.
This is in the YouTube universe show out there I recommend. Dennis recommends Vsauce.
Okay.
If it's like this science-based stuff and it always flips my wig. And there's Vsauce 1, 2, and 3. And there's this guy on Vsauce 3 who has this whole what would happen if Superman punched you?
They have so much stuff. They need 3 channels.
They do, and it is full, and it's great.
Okay.
But they did this one, this literally a scientific breakdown with the physics and the math of what would happen if Superman actually punched you. And at some point, because his arm can move at the speed of light, and given the weight in grams of Superman's fist, it would leave you would not just be killed, you would be destroyed on an atomic level. You would literally have your atoms smashed, and it would create a crater 1.5 miles wide, and that's just if he punched you. So again, people
because
out there
Superman exists.
Because Superman exists, in our hearts, minds. And,
so that's what I think that would be the true definition of pseudoscience.
Right. Well, it is. But if someone took that man, and of course he doesn't, but they took like his measurements. They used like in canon things that he's done, flying.
But all those have changed. All those things have changed over time, and their sources and how. Like there was one point where they realized that
infinity,
but there's one point where they realized if he lifted up a ship, the problem is the ship would crack under its own weight. He's done that, so now he has some magic sort of aura that seems to come off, and that's why the ship doesn't break.
When he lifted up the island, he would really just kind of go through it.
Yeah,
but right. So I mean, there's certain things we have to accept, and as good absorbers of fiction, we need to suspend some disbelief.
There are morality tales.
Yes,
is what they are.
But I mean,
all the geek stuff.
If you have
layered on,
if you have a being that is capable of that, when he has an orgasm,
yes, it's like a shotgun blast.
It would kill Lois Lane, and it's one of these things where it's like, well, that's been out there for a while, but it took Kevin
to put it publicly, in the mainstream,
and to give it that Kevin Smith-ness. And God bless him for it.
10 years ahead of his time.
Because these are the things. Sometimes he'll put something in a movie that I didn't even realize I was thinking until I heard Banky say it. And I'm like, oh my God. There's validation. There's a kindred spirit, a like mind out there. And that's Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
I'm here to geek all over Kevin Smith.
Well,
How about Dogma?
He says a lot
Dogma
of the things
is probably one of my favorite. Again, it's so hard because everything's my favorite.
Believe me, people ask
Clerks
us a lot.
is amazing. Dogma is
trying to pick a favorite is never easy.
It's not fair.
Yeah,
it's not fair because it's like how does a
I go to Clerks 2
kid?
a lot. I go to Clerks 2 a lot. As if I had to pick one, and you said you're gonna be forced to pick just one, it would be Clerks 2.
Clerks 2
because the vibe is so good. It's so funny. It's a sequel that doesn't need its prior to stand alone, so that does a great trick on its own. The vibe is good. What's her name? Rosario Dawson.
She's great.
She's great in it.
It's got.
You have a fucking donkey show.
It's the promise of Bachelor Party realized.
Yeah, but then twisted because it's a guy.
But it's a
spoiler,
guy.
sorry.
that man's being awful forward with that donkey. I mean, that is, I think my favorite.
He's gonna cornhole that ass.
He's gonna cornhole with his wiener.
Well, if he's jerking off, then I'm gonna jerk off.
That's disturbing. Where he's like,
It's
sorry, Jesus.
I'm sorry, Jesus. No.
Fucking Jack.
Favorite Kevin Smith scene? I think I'm gonna have to go with this scene where he screams at Jay in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
See, now that would
The
be
sign on the back of the car.
Yes.
You dumb fuck. It was so.
Wow, you knocked our fucking logo off.
Uh-oh.
You screamed so hard, you knocked our logo off.
See, now that is my favorite one.
That's your
Jay and
favorite
Silent
movie?
Bob. Jay and Silent Bob.
Well, that's a good one too.
I love it from
they're
beginning
all
to
good.
end.
I mean, that's good. That's
Suck it in.
See, what I like. That's sort of a
Such a
wacky
great
road
movie.
movie. That's a cartoon with live action. Even Kevin
Yeah.
said that. But
It is.
But Clerks has a
So
little.
great.
Clerks 2 is like that with a little more heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you got that great Dante. You got that great Randall performance at the end.
Randall's great. Oh,
Yeah.
and the jail cell.
Yeah, in the jail cell, which like
Yeah,
When he
that's
kind of lays it all
very-
out.
yeah,
It's like, you know,
that'll well me up. I'll
Yeah,
choke
it's
up on
hard.
that
It was
scene.
it was important.
Yeah,
you know,
it was.
Yeah.
You could feel it, man. That was heavy.
You know, when you watch, this is a big scene for me in Good Will Hunting.
Yeah.
Will was such a strong character, and yeah, he's had so much terrible stuff happen to him, but the moment where he's sitting down with I can't remember his name, with Robin Williams' character, when he's
Yeah.
sitting down with the doctor, and
Oh,
he's like,
hey,
it's not your fault.
it's not your fault. Hey,
Genie. But when he does the it's not your fault, when you see someone who is so
been
strong
over a year and that guy's gone.
break down, and you're like, you have to break down with him. And then when you have Randall, who's just this snarky, just hates everything, and when he finally admits, it's like, yes, I hate everything, but I love you. And the reason,
Right.
and I can hate everything because I have you, and I love you. And it's like get a little dusty in the theater.
Yeah, it's true. It is.
My eyes
So-
couldn't get some tears in them.
So, Clerks 3
Yes. Now, whatever happened to Hit Somebody?
hit somebody's in the mix too. It's
Yeah,
still in
is he
there.
going to make that a document? Not a document. Oh,
It's
God,
supposed to be a
documentaries on the
miniseries.
brain. Yeah,
it's supposed to be a
miniseries.
miniseries, and like he says, it's sold, but where it is in the whole milieu pantheon, he says it's coming. I forget what he said, but he did recently comment on it his birthday.
Yeah,
I just forget what it was.
I'm looking forward to Hit Somebody.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's another one of his pipe dreams, but he's done with the whole "I'm retired" thing, which is
Yeah.
more important. So there's no more I'm retired, I'm done with film. Now he just realizes if I do film, I'll just do what I want to do.
No, he's doing it his way.
Yeah,
He's not doing it any other way.
He'll tell Kevin Smith stories or fucking crazy stories.
Mhm.
So I love
That's it.
those. And which sort of launched with Tusk.
God,
I
that
love
was amazing
Oh
too.
my
Did you
God.
like Tusk?
I did like Tusk.
Had you heard the podcast?
I listened to it.
Yeah.
The
okay.
day- well, I
Yeah,
mean,
me too. I was on board
I
with
was on
that one
board-
since it happened.
Yeah, I mean, I was there.
Yeah.
You hear that, Kevin? Dennis was there with you when you were going through it.
So
You
great.
know, and then for him to find out that it was a joke, and to not, I mean,
And
whatever
not
he,
to
whatever he
bail
said,
the-
privately, like you English bastard. But just for him to be like, it was a joke.
Oh, it was a hoax.
It doesn't really change how I feel.
But we
That's
had
right.
the hoaxer on this show.
You did?
Yeah, we had him on, and
Oh my
and
God, he
Was
he
it
is,
Gumtree? Was
he
it
is such an
Gumtree?
interesting character in and of himself that it didn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think he brought
and
him
he's
on
in
as
the
a
movie.
producer.
He's in the movie. You see him in the scene where he's in the bar. He kind of looks like a what's his name? Wolverine with glasses. Is the best way to
Really?
describe. Yeah, that's what
Chris-
Kevin.
Chris Parkinson.
Yes, Chris Parkinson.
What was he? A comedian?
No, he's just a
Scenester?
he's like an avant-garde
He's a poet?
poet
Uh-huh.
and like in apparently apparently in England they do these sort of there's a much more active theater community
Mhm.
and they do these
Yeah, Shakespeare, I guess.
Yeah,
Another one
and
on us,
they-
England. Sorry.
I forget what they call
Mhm.
them and it'll probably come to me but they have a specific kind of name and they're just sort of like these weird performance fairs and stuff where they put on shows. They happen around Christmas time too.
Or they
and-
do like open mic things or something like
yeah,
that.
they do a lot of like performance stage and theater
Yeah.
weirdness. I don't even know. For all I know, it could be Punch and Judy shows.
Yeah.
It is England.
Mhm.
But meanwhile, fucking Ben Montgomery's like, what the fuck
Just
are you
walking
talking
around
about?
doing silly walks.
Yes, exactly.
And we
It's
do
like
have people that listen
Monty
to us
Python's
in,
I know.
jolly old England.
We have a lot. But,
PBR also has a lot of European English fans.
a lot of England, and we have a lot of
Yeah.
UK, or not UK. I have a lot of Australia, New Zealand.
They're just shaking their
Pacific
heads,
Rim.
drinking their tea, and thinking,
Having
"What is wrong
Fosters.
with those Americans?
Yeah,
They have
fucking
no idea what
dummies.
they're talking about."
That's true. We don't. We've never been there.
We don't.
Well, you have. I haven't.
I have.
I have not been across the pond.
I
Have you been
have not.
across the pond?
Not to England,
No.
but Italy.
Oh,
You went to Italy?
I went to Italy.
to
You went to Italy?
I went to
Italy?
Italy a couple
What was
times.
Italy like?
It's just a lot of
Beautiful.
Italians.
Did you go to Rome?
Rome, Naples,
nice.
Venice, which I kind of went in there with like this youthful, everyone likes Venice. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna like Venice. Screw Venice. And then you get there and you're like, oh my God, this is as beautiful as everyone says it is.
What a
I'm sure
modern
it's
hater
gorgeous.
attitude.
It is.
He goes in with the whole like,
it's
this
young-
is gonna
Well,
suck.
it's not that it's gonna
How
suck.
dare these people think this is nice?
It's not that I didn't go in there with the this is gonna suck attitude.
Everybody says it's cool. Surely it's
yeah, I
not.
was going in there with that like that late 90s
I'm cooler than
kind of,
you.
oh, everybody likes it, so I don't like
Yeah, I
it.
get
I'm
that.
ironic.
I'm not gonna
I'm ironic.
yeah, I'm just gonna give it this little like, whatever.
You know what?
Venice.
I think-
Screw you.
I think the
Venice.
Simpsons nailed it. I just remember this one joke. The two kids are at the fucking Lollapalooza type concert. One goes, "Oh, sure, these guys are good." And then the other guy goes, "Are you being ironic?" He's like, "I don't even know
I don't even know
anymore."
anymore. But I
Yeah,
went there
exactly.
with like
That is
with
like
that like North Jersey chip on my shoulder. Like,
Yes.
yeah, come on, Venice. Okay. All right. Oh, you got boats. That's amazing. And then you're right there and you're like, yeah, this is
the whole city built on a toilet.
really beautiful.
I know,
I
right?
can't believe it was a stun. I went and saw the Tower of Pisa. I didn't do that stupid picture where it looks like I'm trying to hold up the tower. You know,
What I find
this
amazing,
picture.
Oh yeah.
I didn't do that picture.
Got it.
Yeah.
what I find amazing is how they built that.
I saw daytime prostitutes.
It's built on
Ooh,
logs.
daytime.
Daytime prostitutes. We were driving around and I asked my dad, I'm like, what are all these ladies just walking around? And he goes, they're waiting for a bus. And then they all giggled. And I went, oh, I get it. They're
Yeah,
hookers.
that kind of bus.
Ah,
So daytime prostitutes.
wow.
It was, there's
That's
they're
cute.
definitely the JV line. Hey, you're out there working, lady. I respect that.
Absolutely.
You know,
And during the day, man.
and during the day.
Yeah.
That's much better. No, that's not much better. I was like, maybe we'll go with this reduced view.
Little on the fly stuff.
Yeah.
On the fly.
Woo.
And the only thing I really know about Australia is that everyone has like a really good natured attitude and everything
They're all
that,
really macho.
yeah, and everything that because everything that isn't people is designed to kill you.
Yes.
There's-
Snakes,
There's
spiders.
plants. They've got this
More venomous creatures
Crazy.
in Australia than anywhere in the world.
If Sidney Lesperance is listening, can you check my fact on
They don't have fucking alligators.
No,
they have
no,
fucking
I
crocodiles.
got, no, there's a plant. I think it's called like the Gibby Gibby. And everything has like these really cute names.
Gibby
Like, oh,
Gibby,
that's
yeah.
it. I don't know, mate. That's it's the Wibby Wobby. What's
you
that
gotta
do?
watch out for the drop bears.
It,
mate.
it murders you by crawling in your anus and eating out your eyes. It's like, wow, it looks so cute. Oh yeah, the cute ones you gotta look out for.
yeah.
And the ones will kill you dead, mate. So maybe that's why everyone's so macho but really good natured, is because just living under that constant stress. You're either, hey, we're just gonna go on with our day, or like, you just sitting there running around screaming.
Incredibly
anxiety.
underpopulated too.
Yes,
the whole
there's
country
a lot of.
just lives on the rim.
They could be having Mad Max,
But why would
in
they
the
move-
middle of that country?
Why the
and
fuck
no
would
one
they
know
move in? They would just die.
They
They'd just
would.
be
It's
killed by all those insects and fucking snakes and poisonous creatures and giant
I've always
crocodiles
wanted to
and,
go there too.
The
and
land-
wallabies and,
It's like Australia doesn't want people there, and build this beautiful opera house.
we're gonna head down to the Billabong, which is by the Yakka.
The Yakka.
The Yakka is like a
Sounds like
Billabong.
Boston. Baston. Sounds like a Boston accent. Sorry.
No, it's not. That would be fuck me with your hat cock. It's the only thing I know how to
Sorry,
say in
guys.
Boston.
I think. Do you guys know who Jason Mantzoukas is? He's Rafi on the League. He has his own He's on a podcast
Yes.
called
Yes.
How Did This Get Made?
Yes.
Mhm.
He did something. If you can say the word burglar and smuggler in a Boston accent, you've nailed like burglar and smuggler. And then
Smuggler?
you can run that through every other
Burglar?
word.
I don't know if I can say
Burglar
burglar.
and
How do you
smuggler.
say
A
burglar?
bagler.
It's
They
a
would probably
burglar.
go hard R. They would have to go
A
hard
He's
on
a
it.
smuggler. And then you
Smuggler
you
and
work that
burglar.
into the rest of your lexicon.
Boston habit.
Oh,
I still
I'm
say
sorry.
it all goes back to fuck me with your hot cock, because that is the Boston hooker.
It's
right
just sexy, is what
there.
that
Oh
is.
yeah,
It's
I know
sexy.
it gets me hot.
It does, you know.
Hot
I'm
and
working it.
cock together.
Hot cock.
Hot cock.
Get
Pack
it?
that.
And the disinterest in the voice almost. Fuck me with your hot cock. Oh boy, give it to me, big boy. It's your Boston hooker as she's smoking a cigarette. I see a lot of curls, big blonde.
Well, hey, baby got to work.
Yeah, even she's got to make some money.
Yeah, I agree. How did we get here?
I don't know, because I said your Australian accent sounded like your Boston.
You don't like talking in the microphone.
No,
And then you
no,
were
I'm
made
in
to
a
suffer.
weird position. But I'm
Speak for
good.
yourself. Oh, you were. I'm sorry.
I'm good now.
I want my hands on camera. Hey, I gave you a hand job.
Thank you.
I know, right?
We fell out of the Kev thing. We've hit a pothole. Now, normally, and back in the old days, I could edit this shit right the fuck out. But now that we do this live streaming bullshit, we're totally at the mercy.
That's
of-
hey, it's better. It's
of-
better. You know, it keeps you on edge, keeps you sharp.
Here's what's fucking me up. Like every time your hands move, I see it through my peripheral vision. It's like making me. Am I being crept up on?
Oh,
it's
the
stimulating.
magic of Dennis the intern's hands.
It's stimulating my primal response, because it's like something's flittering in the side. Oh, hunter killer. Anyway, it's like something right out of not Poltergeist, Predator. Thank you.
Yes. You ain't got time to bleed. I think
Schwarzenegger.
there's a little time to bleed. Yeah.
So-
If they took a little time to bleed, I don't know if Jesse the body gets cut in half.
Being a podcaster,
Yes.
do you get to listen to podcasts? Are you a podcast listener?
Okay.
Or were you and then you've fallen off? Or
I'm a student of the art.
Mhm.
I try
The art.
podcasts. It is. It's an art. It's it's an amazing expression of individualism and personal like industry. It's amazing. It's it's like the free market.
totally.
It's the free market. It's I have this great idea and I would love to share that idea with others. And you used to have to like jump through how many different hoops. And I know that
Suck somebody's
Mike,
dick in some office somewhere in
maybe,
hopes that
you know,
maybe you'll get
maybe,
the fucking
you know,
show to do something. And
I know that Mike from PBR podcast, he's worked in the television realm, so he's got a cleaner view of this. But and even Derek D, as he's also on the PBR podcast. Derek Mike, as him even more involved on the front camera, in front of the camera stuff. You have to, like, when you have this great idea that you want to share, you have to jump through so many hoops. And then by the time, then let's say you get somebody who wants to nibble, who wants to fuck on that idea.
Mhm.
And then you get them back to the bedroom of your idea. Then they just want to start rearranging the pillows, and they want, next thing you know, you have absolutely so many people have to have say, if there's pay, there's say. So if you want someone
True.
to put your stuff on their networks, they, by rights, they should have something to say about it.
Of course.
But you want to make this heartfelt piece of art, and then bring it back even to Kevin, that he wants this heartfelt piece of art, and then it goes through the process, and then at the end, it might not even look like what you started at.
It's got it.
And then and it happens a lot of people. Then they just start throwing money at you.
Yeah.
Then there's that about money and art and money and art. And luckily, I don't make money, so I'm all pure art.
Well, and that's the beauty of podcasting.
That's-
You certainly don't have
but-
to worry about making money.
But yeah, that's what's awesome
And
about
polluting
the
up your
podcast
art.
is you can be that, like that, hey, you're that funny guy, or you're that guy that's with your friends always making them crack up. It might not be enough to convince someone on a radio station
I
to
tell you, man,
put you up.
you look at like these YouTube kids,
Yeah.
like what's his name, Trevor, whatever,
Tyler Oakley.
Tyrone Oakley. Now
He's my example of.
this is. I just have to do this. You're driving me nuts.
Yeah, but I can't see my face. Nobody can see
You're
my-
driving me nuts.
Let's put it near her mouth.
There we go.
Yeah.
So
That's the way I had it.
No, you didn't, because it was turned sideways and all kinds of.
Oh, you boys!
Yes. Well, that's what
Particular.
it's silver dots and all that stuff.
I had the silver dot.
All right.
And
It's
here
not-
I
I
not
have the
fight.
silver dot.
We're wasting
Yeah.
time and made me forget what I was talking about. Thank you.
Well, we were talking about podcasts in general, and I'm saying
Tyler Oakley.
Tyler Oakley.
When I would go on and see, okay, so what is he doing on YouTube for this channel? It's like, it feels like confessional videos from like a reality
world?
show. Yeah, or
Yeah.
the real world. And I'm like, this is content? This counts?
It is.
If this counts,
It counts because we make it count.
fucking A.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? Well, the kids,
Right.
kids make it count. It's
Well,
really the truth.
There's the guy. Oh god, if
I don't know that you and I would sit down and watch Tyler Oakley and go, this is how I want to spend 20
Maybe
minutes.
not, but you know what? Here's the thing:
But
the
my
fact that
kids
you
do.
and I wouldn't sit down and watch Tyler Oakley used to mean something.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden, Tyler Oakley doesn't get his chance.
Yeah.
But
And
now,
don't get me wrong. I like Tyler Oakley. I like what he represents. and
Sure.
we
I
sound like
don't-
we're shitting on him.
No, we're
I
not.
have
I don't think we are. I think we're using him as an example of how amazing this
the internet
medium is.
Yeah.
Right.
So now
Because it
Tyler
is up
Oakley
to-
has a chance.
It's
And
up to people's eyeballs.
To honestly tell you, the reason why people like him so much and why kids like him, adults like him, is because he's honest.
Exactly.
And
Integrity.
He has a film on. He has a camera on him, and he's talking directly to the camera about whatever
Right.
it is
Whatever's
that's
going
on
on.
his
Yes.
mind.
And that
And he
I
helps
love that.
with, like,
that
bullying.
integrity, that that we're
Mhm.
now able, and the fact that podcasters can go out and do this. People go on
Sure.
YouTube and do this, or set
And
up
then
their own
It's
channels.
a direct. You have a direct line.
No
And then we
fucking
let-
gatekeepers.
Yes.
Yeah, there are no gatekeepers except for the consumer.
Yeah.
The consumer of the content. You can say what it doesn't mean you have free reign.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to have to live by and die by the words that you choose.
Yes.
And
It's true.
Yeah,
but
so
you
if you
have
choose
this,
to represent some sort of racist ideals,
Yeah.
then you're going to have to live with the repercussions of those choices.
and you know what? The weird thing, that audience will find you.
Yes,
You know?
of course. Oh yeah.
True.
yeah.
I don't like spotted purple people, and
And
you're
what's
gonna find
even-
out. Woo, I hate the spotted purple people, and you can have
Thank
a small,
God.
a smile
That-
audience.
that's
on
like
that.
you find out
And I by the way, I
Who was it?
love all the spotted purple. Dennis the intern loves spotted purple people.
the
Wherever you may be.
the crazy woman who shut down gay marriage in Nashville or whatever the fuck
Kim
that
Tim
was.
Davis.
Tim Davis. Like
Ooh.
for his,
Mm.
as sort of vile as what she's doing is, like, you got the supporters come right in. Well, where's her fucking? I'm gonna go fucking PayPal her $1,000 and shit.
Sure.
Just for like
Right, and people were like protecting her, and
Yeah.
she had security.
the
you know.
fucking gun
Yeah.
guys. Who are those guys? The guys who show up armed to the teeth, but they're not intimidating anybody.
They're Americans. I'm
Yes.
just kidding.
Yes.
No, yeah, I get what you mean. It's true.
Oh my god.
They're
there's a spot
protecting
for-
her and her right to hate.
Sure, but you know what? Here,
No, they're not.
But-
they're
No, but
subtly
that's what they're-
intimidating everyone around them.
No, but that's what they're
That's what they're
feeling. That's what
thinking. I
their
know.
feeling is, that
But you know
they're
what?
there to
And
protect
what's
her.
that's
I would just wait for
I
them
don't
to say
agree
something
with-
rude to me, and then I would just go, "Can you please arrest this man? He made a terroristic
Right.
threat. He's armed to the teeth.
I
Take him
don't
away."
agree. I think that the woman should resign her position. I mean, if she wants to
Absolutely.
have these feelings, she's an American.
But then she doesn't.
She's in
Then you don't get to
America.
pay attention to her.
Well, right, but I think what she served a purpose, be it whatever the God has put her there for. Is like, yes, this is a person with these feelings, and this is America, and she has a right to them. And I personally find them loathsome. I think that what she's done is terrible, and I don't think she should have that job.
Yeah, but
She's
she
Governor
shouldn't-
Wallace,
she's getting
standing
it-
in front of
Right.
a fucking school,
Who's saying that
not
I
letting
have-
black people in.
Right, and if she's somehow putting that fact that she's like, well, this is my freedom.
We all know what happened to
It's
Governor
my
Wallace.
yes, she's like, this is my freedom to do this, and it's like, well, no, it's not your. Yes, it's your freedom to feel that way, but it's
Governor
not your
Wallace had a
freedom to
massive change of
stop that.
consciousness. He had a
later in his life, right?
yeah, after he
Yeah.
was shot.
After he was shot. Yeah, well, maybe I
After
should.
someone attempted to kill him.
Maybe I should rethink the way I am.
Yeah, but when she's at work, she does her job.
I'm sure.
Right.
yeah.
Well, yes.
Do
her-
your job and
do your
still feel
job.
that way.
No,
And
she
if-
doesn't though.
and if you have-
because that's part of your job.
No,
If
but
you're-
she should be doing her job.
and if she finds something morally objectionable about her job, then she shouldn't do that in her job.
Yeah.
It's like
Exactly.
if you're, a diehard vegan,
Yeah, you don't become. You don't
are
work in
you
a
allowed to
slaughterhouse.
not serve a steak to a customer
No.
because you find it personally objectionable?
No.
Well, no, you're allowed to not work at a steakhouse and don't work there, you know? And if two people love each other and want to be together and they want to solidify that marriage legally and in the spirits of their own heart, then, you know, it's not your job to stand in the way of that. It's your job to sign a piece of paper and move on with your life. And if you can't, because their personal marriage has so little to do with you, you know, you're not a sponsor of their marriage. You're just saying these are two adults who want to be together, blah, blah, blah. They're not related. And then bang. And then you move on with your day.
Right. And she's making it their fault, not hers.
She's making it their, oh, yeah, I can't allow that because of my personal feelings. Like, your personal feelings have so little to do with your job. You know, you're not there. You're not moral police.
I take it to the next level. Like, okay,
and plus, she's
who
so
is
religious.
she to make this decision? Because if she's so religious, why can't she? You could
Judge
very
not.
easily go like this. Well, you know, you're Jewish, and that's not my faith. Your faith offends me, and so I'm not marrying you.
Well, if
that's the next leap, and then, but that one's protected,
right? And here's the thing too. I think if you really read about Jesus, one of the big things is, like, you know, cast the first stone, judge not. It's not your. The Pope said it. It's like when he talked about like gays coming into church and having coming to the Catholic Church and having Holy Communion. You know, he's like, well, what? It's not my job to judge. My job is to open up these doors and allow as many people who want to come to the faith as possible.
I have mixed feelings about. I mean, I like the fact that the Pope is saying all the right things, but he is the Pope. So when he does things like, I can't change this. Yeah, you're the Pope.
Sort of.
You're the only one who can.
Right. Well, you know, hopefully.
All you have to do is say, it's done, because I'm the fucking Pope. What I say is infallible.
Only if he's upon the Holy See. There's a whole
misguided.
He can have the Pope can write a lot of doctrine, but there's only some that he can speak infallibly.
And this is what happens when you,
as far as I understand,
you have your monotheistic religion built on top of a polytheistic one that used to exist.
Sure,
lots of wacky rules.
Yeah.
Do you ever hear the Roman calendar? How many times that used to change?
Yeah. Well, our calendar changes all the time.
Exactly. And the whole thing is everything changed. Actually, Lionel.
I was just thinking.
Lionel was making this point.
Wow. Well, Kevin Smith. Now we're talking about Pope.
Now the thing that I
hear that's his nickname.
Kevin Pope Smith.
No, the Pope.
His nickname is the Pope
in the house, in his house.
Kevin Smith's name is the Pope.
Yeah, he's referred to that like in third, like they talk about him that
That's
way behind his back.
But okay, talking about the Pope.
Talking about
not
Pope.
Kevin.
Welcome to Pope Talk.
Pope Kevin the First.
I'm Dennis the Intern.
Not Kevin Smith the Pope. The Pope.
Well, Pope mania. It makes sense. We just had crazy.
Even people that are not Catholic.
The pontiff just blew into town, man. So let's pontificate.
We're gonna
pontificate. I stole that joke from, was it Wilmore? Somebody did it.
I think it was Larry Wilmore said it.
I don't think he said it, but someone said it on his show.
But even people that are not Catholic love him just because he gives everybody a good feeling about what it's supposed to be like, just to be a good person and treat people the way you want to be treated and help people, because that's all
kind of Christ-like, right? And then
we're
kind of Christ-like.
Jesus. Now I'm not a believer. Just put it that way. But I do.
I think everyone who listens to the show knows where I stand on all this stuff.
If Jesus did exist,
I have some stuff I'd like you to read. I'd like to talk about your immortal soul.
He helped the poor.
Dennis is here to save.
That's what he focused
on. I hope not.
He helped the poor. And
Let me show you the door.
No. Anyway, he helped the poor. That was his focus.
Hey, as
just like
Pope wasn't Francis. Alan Watts, but Alan Watts did quote the guy who said it. I like your Christ. I'm just not too fond of your Christians.
What did I hear? Christian is a wonderful noun and a terrible adjective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's this guy we're just talking to. He's actually going to be in the movie. His name is Lionel. He has what is it? It's Lionel Nation. Lionel Nation out there, folks. If you want to check out his podcast, very political. Doesn't mind.
And then check out the PBR podcast.
Yes, check that out too. Check that out too.
PBR.
See, boss, I'm doing my job.
But he doesn't mind stirring the pot. He's very pragmatic, very sort of fact oriented. But he makes a very good point in his philosophy. He says, he's an atheist.
Yes,
but
which is fine.
Like me, I'm an atheist, but like I don't speak French, and so I don't feel any need to tell you that I don't speak French. You know what I mean? Like I'm an atheist, but there are atheists out there that are so They're
militant.
Yeah, and dogmatically atheist. Like it's their agenda.
I like the Penn Jillette atheist.
Yeah.
Penn Jillette is a great atheist.
Yeah, I don't care.
His mom was super religious.
All religions are beliefs that can bring people good, but to me, they're all equally fairy stories.
Really, it's all about how do I become a really good person.
Agreed.
And if you find that in atheism because you realize that, yes, there's a biological reason why we all kind of love each other and all that excellent stuff. Yes, because
you do. Morals and religion can be mutually exclusive.
Sure. And but that's all I care about. If you're going to be Muslim and that makes you an awesome person, congratulations, you got it right.
Exactly.
And if you're going to be atheist and you're an awesome person, congratulations, you got it right. But if you're going to be anything and just use that to be a dick, well, then
I was going to say, but here's the problem:
you lost. You're not getting it right.
Most of those religions are built that way. They're the proselytizing ones.
Well, really,
which means Christianity and Islam.
Well,
I mean, to name the two.
I mean, really, isn't it all started? Isn't it really just to make sure you move on to a great place? I mean, that's all. So sometimes people are a little more forward.
Maybe we're already in a great place.
Maybe we are.
Now we can speak of
What's better
George
than
Harrison.
here and now?
Remember when we were watching the George Harrison documentary?
Yeah.
He
lived his whole life preparing to let go.
I know. I wanted to say it. His whole life was preparing for that moment. And his wife said when that moment came, when he passed away, the room lit up. And she said it was the most amazing thing she had ever seen.
And the mind can play fascinating tricks on people.
Well, you know what? I'm just going by what she said, and I totally believe that what she saw.
I believe that she saw it. Yes, I do. But I also know that the mind can play fascinating tricks on people that seem real, and that's why, because it's your mind.
When those people came in and robbed him, he even said like, "This can't be the way. This can't be the way."
Yeah.
Hey,
why are we getting so dark?
No, because it's cool. Because he prepared himself. Like this is what his faith was preparing him for this time.
But I prefer the school of, I would like to go technology, upload my consciousness and never have to die, because I believe that death is an imperative that we should beat.
Hey, I'm just comfort, joy, and peace. Whatever brings you those three things in this world, hold on to it and hump it till it's yours.
Exactly.
Because my God,
if I can upload my consciousness into a computer that will live forever and make copies of
myself. Does that bring you comfort, joy, and peace?
And bother everybody?
Then jack in, awesome. Neo, because that's going to do it for you.
There we go.
Yeah.
I just want it so I can download awesome stuff.
Yes.
I want to know Kung Fu.
Lots of porn.
Well, isn't that really just your imagination?
Porn?
The old porn Rolodex in your head.
Yeah.
You don't use the Rolodex. I know we're sitting here in front of your wife, but you gotta have the Rolodex.
He has a Rolodex.
He's got the roll. You have a Rolodex too.
I have a Rolodex.
Let's talk. Can we shift here? Let's pivot and talk about the Rolodex.
It's called Apple TV. Who the fuck needs a Rolodex?
No,
we
Rolodex.
Got live fucking. We got live action.
Sometimes you gotta put down the phone, the computer. You gotta go. Walking through the memory, and you got to get there.
Memory?
Yeah.
Fuck memory. Why not do the real thing?
Well, sometimes the real thing doesn't want to, or isn't
has a headache, or
maybe you pissed the real thing off, and the real thing is just maybe the real thing wants to go into her own Rolodex.
Yeah.
There you go.
Buzz one out.
The bucket list, as they say.
Well, fuck it list, I think is what it's called. Yeah. But no, the fuck it list is for the future. The Rolodex is about the past.
Is it really?
Yeah, the Rolodex is about your past.
I've never even heard this theory. But
you never heard the Rolodex?
No.
Oh, the mental Rolodex. You got to hooked up with X. You put that in the Rolodex so that eventually
I'll need that one.
You go through a dry spell and there she is.
Yeah, but there's a reason why she's your ex.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Of course. I'm not saying you want to.
See, women have a different way, though, because that would totally, the whole Rolodex thing, our thing is more mental than physical.
Or it's more emotional
I'd be
than
like,
it is.
Ew, I hated him, that fucker.
Physical.
Totally is bringing me down.
Yeah. No, we don't remember that.
He was a jerk.
That's because this is true. I mean, we've had this conversation.
I think guys use the Rolodex different. The Rolodex is there for, just remembering snapshots. It's like an instant replay.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember how
See,
I
I'd
felt
rather.
during that.
I think I'm with Scott. I'd rather
here's
look
what
at
I've
somebody I
observed
don't
about-
even know who's hot, and that's it.
Nice.
Here's what I've observed
We're
about
getting down to some stuff here today.
about single straight men, but all straight men, really, they are oblivious to their own cluelessness. You know what I mean? They are oblivious to how transparent they are. That's been my experience.
Okay.
What would you say?
I don't have an opinion.
I don't have many experiences with single straight men.
Yeah.
Oh, sure you have.
No, but there's all different types of straight men.
I think at the end of the day, they're all kind of transparent in the department of amour.
Okay.
Well, but again, it goes back to the first point. Comfort, peace, and joy. You just want to find some comfort, peace, and joy, and you want to share that comfort, peace, and joy. That's also looking for comfort, peace, and joy, and you can bring those pieces together.
But the problem there is many men are so clueless to the fact that the other party is utterly unreceptive to them.
See, but that's not so much. That's not that. I don't think that's all straight men.
Oh, it's a lot of them. It's a lot of them.
There's a lot of straight.
And the good ones are the ones they go the opposite way too. You see this? You're a guy. You see this all the time.
I am a guy.
It's the guys.
Dennis is a guy.
It's the guys who
he's
go
not just
like
hands.
who go.
I'm
like,
not just hands. There are things connected to these hands.
They go the Ralph Furley route. You know what I mean? Like, remember Ralph Furley?
Mr.
from
Furley?
Three's Company? Yeah. Like, I'm all
like-
that in a bag of chips.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't think they said that in the 80s.
overcompensate. You know what I mean?
Bag of chips.
A bag. I don't think things were all that in a bag of chips in the 80s.
It certainly were.
No.
And if anybody was all that in a bag of chips, it was Jack.
Oh yes,
Jack Tripper was all
Tripper,
that in a
right.
bag of chips.
Yeah, living with those two chicks.
Terry and
Never fucking either of them.
Chrissy,
See, but he was a straight. white.
tripping over
He was a
couches.
straight- Did you say straight man in general or
I said-
straight white men?
Well, I didn't say straight white men because
The white part doesn't really come.
yeah,
I
to
don't
tell
see
you the truth,
color.
black men are just as clueless in this regard as white men. It's true.
Let's just throw everybody in there. They're
It's
just
males.
clueless.
And it's straight males. So they think.
Right. Now, okay, I will tell you this.
What
There
does
are a
being
lot of
gay give you
straight-
insight?
Yes, actually, well,
Being
being
bi-
bi definitely gives you insight.
Gives you insight?
Yeah.
Now, let me just say something though. There are a lot of straight men that are more focused on their own feeling, being satisfied.
Hey, were you afraid to say the word penis?
yes, it
They're
is
more
all about
focused on
penis.
their penis than their
Yes,
vagina.
very much so.
Not their vagina, but
Yeah.
the vagina involved.
Which is very
Which
much
is
so.
not all of them, because I think saying all of them is
No,
a
but
disservice.
I think it's the objectification that I'm talking about.
My nose
You know,
is
when they
itchy.
get down to that base like monkeyness, you know, that like you women possess, I must possess.
Well, I don't get what that means.
Like the guys who are sort of like pursuant, like possessive douchebags.
Yeah, but
There's a little bit of that in almost every guy at the on-site, you know, at the romantic flare up.
Oh, so you mean like at the basic pass my seed?
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
keep-
yeah,
That's
yeah,
every
yeah.
man in
Keep
Like,
general.
humans going.
yeah, and there's a little bit of that on almost every, like when you're at a cocktail party or whatever, you can see a lot of that going on with guys. And what's funny about it is they think they're not doing it. You know what I mean? They're like the addict who's hiding the booze in the toilet tank and
Oh,
doesn't
I
know
see.
and sort of doesn't think that
So it's like it's a lack of self-actualization.
Yeah.
They don't have that sense of self. that
yeah,
says,
yeah, dude.
know-
You're kind of coming on real strong. Back off.
I don't
You're
know.
humiliating yourself.
Hey, you know what? Again, it's one of these self-selecting, samples. It's like that joke about the guy that walks up to a girl and says, "Hey, want to fuck?" and gets a drink in her glass in his face. And he's like, "Why do you do that?" He goes, "That's how I socked every girl." And he goes, "Why?"
Someday
He goes,
someone's going to
just think about the times when it works.
Mm.
It's like, well,
How often
Yeah.
does that happen?
I don't know. I've never had the balls or the inclination to use that line.
See, but that's an example. He is not like the typical guy you were just talking about. He is not like that. So I think
I'm
very
more
random.
focused on like. Problem is that I end up getting friend zoned.
Yeah,
know,
see,
you're
that's the
friend
thing.
zoned, yeah.
And then
I
that
get in
nice
the friend
guys-
zone a little bit every once in a while.
that nice
I can
guys
see that.
finish last.
Yeah,
But the nice guys don't finish last. Nice
But they do
guys-
end up in the friend zone a lot. That is
Yeah.
true. Very
Oh.
much so.
But you know
not
what?
always
A
perfect.
gentleman finishes last.
But you know
After
what?
the ladies had hers, if
From-
you're with me.
From what I've heard, from what I've heard, being a friend has its benefits.
My goodness.
But being in the friend zone doesn't mean you always stay there.
No.
True, I was going to say that.
You don't always stay there, but it's hard to make that
Sometimes it
transition.
has its benefits, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, just give her a little weed and she'll be good.
Loosen her right up.
I don't know. That sounds a little, in this current
Just
age.
date rape. It sounds a little
Oh,
rapey.
it sounds a little
date
Sounds
rapey.
rapey. It's hot.
That sounded a
You're not
little
giving
That's
her
why
like
I'm drafting
a
sex
roofie?
contracts.
roofie.
I'm
What if she
drafting
doesn't
the
smoke
Dennis the Intern branded sex contract where it says I, the first party,
You
agree to have the
decline-
second party.
You
come on to
decline
these
anal.
parts.
Yeah.
Well, and then we can list it all out. I mean, it might not be sexy.
I believe
but
that was
at least
a-
everything's above. The lady and the gentleman, or the gentleman and the gentleman, or the lady and the lady. They all know, what we're about to do
What's
here.
expected?
Well, not expected.
Discuss
But
out
what's
the
allowed,
options.
Yes.
What are
All
the
right.
options?
So
I have decided to accept you
is
as
it
a sexual
same
partner.
room or not
And-
same room?
and in
is
that
it,
vein,
is
am I
it full
required?
swap or partial?
Am I required to stay the evening? If I am, will breakfast be provided?
Yeah.
Will
Will I need to gnaw my arm off?
do we need to have the butthole addendum? Then we'll get that paperwork and
Butthole.
the butthole addendum. We need to get the butthole addendum. and
Will
we need to
the
get
salad
that.
be tossed in the evening?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, these are all things I
Will
think we should
salad
all.
tossing occur?
Kevin, get on this. Let's get a movie together. Where
Dig this. Dig this. I will bring this is a fact. Guess so 2 days ago or 3 days ago, whenever we shot at we were shooting at Bob Levy's. There was a Friendly's down. We had to go for lunch.
Is that the
so-
Reverend?
Yes.
Reverend Bob.
So we went down to it was a Friendly's and we went in. And now remember the old days? You could get a sundae. If you had a meal, you could get a small sundae, but it was called something very particular.
Wasn't it the Witches Sunday or
the
the?
happy ending.
It was the happy ending Sunday.
No,
Yeah.
Guess what?
they had to change it.
It's not called that anymore.
Oh,
I said, "Do you guys still have the happy ending Sunday?" Because I was looking all through the menu for it. and
why
like,
do creeps
it's
have to
not-
ruin everything for
Right?
everyone?
That's what it was called.
It's like
But
we
you
all
can't-
know what that is. Can't we just giggle about it and move forward? Now the creeps have
See,
to ruin it.
Yeah, but the giggle
Fuck
is what
you,
it,
creeps.
Because you know that they got sick of hearing it. Fucking even
it
the
is.
boardroom's
You know
like,
why?
we got to get rid of the
You know
happy
why?
ending.
You know why?
Everybody knows it's a hand job.
Because it creeps.
I never made a comment about
We
it.
Oh,
couldn't
come
just
on.
have
No,
to,
I never made a comment to the waitress.
about
that
having a
there
happy
was
ending.
Happy ending.
Do girls get happy
Well,
endings?
no, I've never said. I've never.
Do they? Do girls get that?
Well, happy ending is technically coming, right? So, I mean, if you go
No,
somewhere,
The
and,
happy ending was the.
if you went to a massage and at the, they give you a little.
No, it's the hand job. Is the
never-
happy
Yeah,
ending.
well, technically, the happy ending is you go for a massage,
right.
and then like
you get the final
the
massage. on
final
the
massage
penis.
is they jack you off. They
right. But I like.
So a girl would rub down there, or a boy would rub.
Yeah,
down
so
there,
I
or a
mean,
girl.
I guess a girl could get a happy ending. And there's no, they have parts for it.
Cards on the table. Have you guys ever had a happy ending?
Cards on the table. You ever had a happy
Cards on
ending?
the
Jamie?
table.
I've never had one.
You've never
Neither
had a
have I.
happy ending?
Neither have I.
Well, not by. Well,
Well, let's
I mean,
let's
not
back it
by
up.
a- by-
Let's
not by
back it up a step.
masseuse.
Let's back it up a step. Have
We
you
only
guys ever
went to
had
the-
massages?
We only went to the what do you
I've had
call
a
it?
massage.
Yes, the corporate place.
Yeah, you went to like the
Yeah.
Massage Envy.
Yeah, we were.
I'm looking for sponsorships. Massage Envy.
I will say this though, when we lived in Virginia, so we'd have to come up here a lot. We'd come back and forth a lot, and I would take my Massage Envy. What did you get? One a month or whatever. But I would try and line it up for a
Here, hold on. I'll do a happy ending right
for
here
as soon as I got back from the trip.
a little something for you. A little something for you. A little something for you. Oh, I got nervous.
It was the greatest because after I drive, I'm fucking tense as crazy. After driving 8 hours, that was the best time to get a massage because they would just like grind it right out of me.
All right, I'm going to tell a story. It's not my story, but it's
Sure.
a story.
Okay.
A buddy of mine went to a place. He's a lacrosse player and he got his back kind of hurt. So then he goes to a place and
Back kind of
his
hurt.
back hurt. He's playing lacrosse. He's a rough and tumble guy.
Yeah.
And he goes and he gets a massage. And
That's not a sport.
the
Oh,
woman.
will you stop?
The woman.
fucking
That's a
collegiate
great
activity.
sport. The woman lays him down, starts rubbing him out, and next thing you know, he hears like her shoes come off, like flop flop, and then she like climbs up on him and starts like working him. And at first, he's like
Straddled him.
straddled him, like reverse cowgirl, but like up by the shoulders.
Wow.
You guys, am I on the same page? You know, guys, what reverse cowgirl is? You got?
I
Yes,
don't know.
yes, we
I don't
understand.
know what that is.
Do you know what cowgirl
It's
is?
like on top.
Yeah.
A lady on top.
Yeah.
All right, now turn
Now
that around and
reverse
face
is
his
the other.
feet. That's reverse cowgirl.
Whoa.
Yeah, you're
So-
welcome.
So it's like
You're
doggy
welcome,
on
guys.
top.
Is her butt in his face?
No, well, not in a reverse cowgirl, but for this position, he was laying down.
Yeah.
And she was like mounted like his shoulders and started like working him.
Was she clothed?
Yes, she was clothed. She was clothed.
But she had no shoes on.
But at first, yeah, no shoes. But she was for all you fetishists, for all you creeps.
Shoes? Really? You got shoes?
So she so he's like, what the hell is going on? This is he's like, what's going on here? And, you know, and she's doing her thing, and he's like, at first, he's like, what the? I was like, oh, this feels pretty good. So now she's got like an angle on him. Then she flips him over and starts working him out, and then she hears
going the wrong way.
Then she hears the shoes again, and then she climbs up on him and starts like working his, you know, his abdomen and his thighs. And he's like, "This is what do you do? Oh, this feels really good." Okay. At the end, oh God, I hope I get this right. At the end, she's like, "You want me to do mushy mushy?"
Mushy mushy.
And he's
mushy,
like,
mushy,
mushy mushy. It's like, yeah, mushy mushy. You want mushy mushy? And he's like, I don't know what mushy mushy is. And now there's like this verbal chess match between him not knowing what mushy mushy is and her not really wanting to explain what mushy mushy is.
Yeah.
And eventually it turns out that mushy mushy is exactly what you think mushy mushy is.
Yeah.
And he said, oh, no, thank you. And then he left. And so, you know, I don't know why I told this story, but, you know, that stuff's still going on.
Yeah. Now, was it like a place like down an alley or something?
No, this was like
it was a massage envy.
It wasn't like a corporate, you know,
Yeah.
place, but at the same time, you know.
Sounded like she knew what she was doing.
Yeah.
Well, he said
they trained them in the secret art of love.
He said it
Did
was
you ever read a geisha,
massage.
the geisha movie story?
He said it was a
that
great massage.
It sounds
you know?
like it was. She got
a little awkward at the end.
Yeah, I could see that.
She was working towards a goal.
Yeah.
See, I have a healthy dose of fear and just general anxiety and panic, which I've carved into a life.
Yeah,
so I know
have
that if something like that were to happen to me, and you know, all of a sudden, you know, some lady's asking me, "Would you like me to finish the massage?" Even if I wanted to, I mean, I guess on some level, it kind of wants to. But like, even if I was like, "All right, let's wrap this thing up, young lady. Let's
seal the deal.
Let's finish." I knew that the minute she grabbed me, the door would kick in, and
the SWAT team would
comes in, and it's like, no.
I knew this was
we waiting just for you.
Well, I tell you, Dennis went to a place once. I went to a joint to get a massage, and it wasn't a lacrosse related injury. And I remember I found this place, and everything just started feeling patchy and sketchy. There was this door, it was on this building, and there wasn't any signage. And I go to open the door, and I like double check my address. I'm looking, I'm like, what is this? I go to open the door, and it's locked. I'm like, oh, hey, this is my appointment. I hit a button, you know, like to come in, and I hear like, who are you? I'm like, yeah, my name is Dennis the Intern. I'd like to come in and get a massage. I have an appointment. Is this? Am I?
You announced yourself as Dennis.
I'm Dennis the Intern, and I'm like, they're like, well, hold on a second. Oh yeah. Come in. I gotta buzz you in. And I said, you have to buzz Dennis in. I have to be buzzed in.
And you refer to yourself in third party?
I do sometimes. And I'm like,
third person.
Yes, a little bit. And I'm like, I have to be buzzed in. And they're like, yeah, hold on a second. And I heard, and I'm like, oh, that's the same noise a jail cell makes. I'm like, yeah,
or an apartment.
I mean, yeah, but you know, like I said, something like this doesn't seem.
What neighborhood are we in?
It was a Jersey neighborhood, and I'm like,
Is it down the shore?
I can't do this, and I just got back in my car and I left. Of course, I just couldn't.
I wonder if it was
Another
at someone's
pussy.
Yes.
If it was at someone's house.
Yes.
No,
it was not it was down an industrial. It was in a business area. You know, it was businessy. It's just, you know, if you have to buzz me in, that's because you need to keep people out.
Yeah.
I don't know businesses that other side jewelry stores and that need to keep the general public out. So I don't need to.
A jewelry store that needs it. No. Could have been a weed shop.
Could have been a weed shop. Wasn't a weed shop.
I don't do that shit in Jersey.
It's not yet. It's getting there. We're getting there. People are getting smart.
Not yet.
Nothing wrong.
You gotta
with
get rid of
stuff.
Christy first. Gotta get rid of Christy.
Bleh. I hate you.
No, that's all I feel, Gene. It's strong.
No, it's not strong.
He's a horrible governor, I'll say that.
Horrible governor.
Hey, why are we
He's
getting
out
so
for
damn political?
himself. He's very.
This is Kevin
affluential.
Smith's show. All is love and wonderfulness.
Well, Kevin's great, but Chris Christie.
Hey, why do people think Jersey Girl was so bad?
I love
Getting back
Jersey
on
Girl.
that- I love Jersey
to tell you the
Girl.
truth,
Loved it.
Is it because all that unwanted, unneeded? Yes, I'm about to say it. Ben Affleck hate.
I love Ben Affleck.
I think really what
Mr. Affleck.
I think it was another movie
the
that
bomb
was
in
10
Phantom
years
Yell.
ahead of its time. Because now when you go to shows and we were at I got to host a Clerks panel with Ernie and Brian and Marilyn and Scott. And you know how like often Kevin will bring up a movie that he cites as sort of the bad one.
Right.
You know, first it was Mallrats, then for years. So he made the joke about that. Now it's Tusk. But he was in that jag where he was using Jersey Girl. So Ernie brings that up. He's like, well, even Kevin will make fun. There's a time when he makes up Jersey Girl. And the audience reacted. They said, they were like, no, we love, there was an actual, reaction from the crowd. There's a backlash on that movie now.
You think they're coming back?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
People,
Good. It's
the
a good
fans
movie.
love that
Such a
movie.
great
Yeah.
movie.
What is wrong with
I
it?
loved it.
And I think that's the other thing. It is more chick flicky than a lot of his
It
movies.
is, but that's okay.
He was. My only criticism with it is it's a little more schmaltzy than any of his stuff, and you sort of know where it's going. But here's what I'll say: when I finally saw it, spoilers. I'm sorry if you have not seen it by now.
Shame on you.
When she fucking dies at the beginning, that did throw me. I'm like, holy shit, she's dead already. Why did everyone complain? But it turns out there's like 15, 20 minutes. We've had Bob Hawke on. Bob Hawke saw the original cut.
Mm-hmm.
He says it's if you see the original cut, it's a much better movie. It has much better pathos.
I like what we got. It's
Yeah,
a good.
I do
it's a
too.
good
I
movie.
do
It's
too.
funny. It's got heart when he yells at his daughter. What's the matter with
Is
you?
there a
Well,
place
he says
No whores.
and he does say that
I'm not really a whoremonger.
the
Dad.
breakdown scene, outside of the hospital,
Yeah,
that's in its original form. That scene was much
it's more powerful.
powerful
Yeah.
and intense. And
now? Is there a place to see those extra?
well, the hope is that with an upcoming release, that it'll get a director's cut.
Oh, good, because that would be. I'd like to see that.
Yeah. So that's what Bob was kind of advocating. So
I loved the relationship between him and his daughter,
Yeah.
him and his dad.
It was mature.
George
George
Carlin.
George McCarlin. Did I
George
just say
McCarlin.
George
George
McCarlin? What
Yes.
the fuck was that?
His
George
Irish
Carlin?
cousin.
George McCarlin. George Carlin's in it.
He's a leprechaun.
And
He's the one who tells that no
And like-
whores.
Yeah.
a full supporting cast role. Not. I mean, granted, there's nothing better than that face.
Liv
in fucking-
Tyler?
in what do you call it? In Jay and Silent Bob
Oh my
Strike
God, I
Back
love
with the
that.
rules of the road.
Oh yeah, when he opens up his mouth.
Brilliant. That is like.
Hey, I'll take a shot in the mouth if
yeah.
it gets me a couple miles down the road.
Excuse me. But yeah,
We ain't gay. Don't be so suburban.
So true.
But
There are no lines
and then I liked
anymore.
Is it interesting? I liked Tusk. I really liked Tusk. I thought, was it Justin Long?
He's wonderful.
yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
he?
Justin Long did a great job. Even though in the trailer it was presented as like a comedy line where I don't want to die in Canada. Like it was kind of like, oh, that's a snicker. But then you're like, in context, it's like, oh my God, this guy does all the
I did- well,
tortures.
It was
I
pretty
tell you,
creepy, though.
See,
My
what-
only criticism
it's,
of that film, and it said it.
it's a genre mashup for sure.
It is, but so was Red State. Red State, you didn't know what the hell kind of movie
See,
you were
now-
watching.
Oh, but here's the thing.
Every time you spoilers.
I love Tusk, but
Yeah.
Red State is like a fucking stained glass window.
Yeah,
in terms
but
of art.
every time
I mean,
you
it's
thought
beautiful.
you had a hero,
Exactly. It turns that movie.
boom!
Every time you think you that movie,
When that dude
amazing
wrapped
experience.
up, like Thanksgiving, like a leftover. When all of a sudden that thing starts to wiggle, Jesus Christ! I jumped.
when he fucking when
I gotta get the
Garmin
kids
blows
out
that
of
guy's head open. Oh,
No, and he's
that's
like,
so
the
disturbing.
kids out of here. Oh, the kids don't need to see this part. You're like, what's
Yeah,
this
yeah,
part? And then it wiggles.
Yeah, that's
You're
Oh my
"Holy
God.
Yeah, that was all very fucked up. Yeah, that was a very dark scene, and yeah,
dark scene.
it definitely affected me. Yeah,
It's I mean, you're just like, oh, so this is it.
yeah,
I heard,
total mood shift. And
I want to say I read something, but I think I heard it. It might have been on Smodcast,
probably.
where probably Kevin was talking about like this one ending he had originally for Red State was where the apocalypse actually
where it does
occurs.
happen, yeah, that was
And then like
written.
the angel Gabriel comes down or angel Michael and
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
like
yeah,
he's
yeah.
in front of John Goodman and
Yeah,
he and all of a sudden the Reverend is completely correct.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, John Goodman.
And he's
was
like, but
amazing in
that's
that,
not
too.
that's a twist up. That's
yeah,
a
it's
change
like
up.
that's not a Kevin Smith ending.
Oh, that
Kevin
actually,
Smith talks about it. He doesn't show you.
I don't know. I think that is a Kevin Smith ending, but not a Kevin Smith with not enough money.
Yeah, he's when he
Like
made the
a
movie
$3
for
million
$4 million,
budget or
and he
something,
needed
yeah.
another $1 million to shoot that ending.
Yeah.
He's like, we could just talk about it. But I thought it was great. But
Yeah. See,
I didn't
Tusk,
like the
not
walrus
as
fight.
intense.
No, it wasn't.
Tusk,
It was just it was like him making like his version of like body gore. You know, it was gornography as done by Kevin Smith.
I think it was actor bait. I think that's what it was. I think it was that performance bait that he loves, because you could pull the fucking walrus out of that movie, and it's all just about these actors giving these weird fucking scenes. And
Johnny
But
Depp,
Johnny
just
Depp
owns
is
that.
brilliant.
Is he
yes.
back in Yoga Hosers?
Yes,
He is.
Yeah.
Guy,
Yeah.
Guy,
Guy Lapointe.
Guy Lapointe.
Guy Lapointe,
He
man.
says, this is your baby. You're the mommy.
that-
You are the baby. He says, I think he tried to make a monster out of my boy.
That's the episode. Like when you hear that cut at the beginning when they're talking about ThatMan on Fatman,
Uh-huh.
that's from the Guy Lapointe episode as well.
Yeah.
So they have Batman and Guy Lapointe have the same origins
When they're talking about the syrup.
date.
The syrup, right?
Yes,
That was a great
yes, it's the maple syrup
The
gang.
Gimli sliders.
Gimli
Now-
Slider
Is
was
that
later.
is
That
that
was a
is that
different one.
Jen? Is Jen the waitress in that scene?
Yes.
She is
Yeah.
indeed. Yes.
But I said
That's
my
why
one
if you listen to the commentaries,
Oh,
like
the
I want to
commentary.
fuck the shit out of that waitress.
my one criticism of that movie, and again, there was no other way they could do it. So it's not
The
like-
end.
No, the end was great. It's so dark and it
So
cries. and
stupid.
it's-
so
It was
sad.
I
stupid.
loved it.
It was
Why
so
would
sad.
why would they leave him in the suit and
Because
live?
what are they going to
I
do?
know,
He's been
and-
mentally broken.
They did it to honor the fucking podcast
Yeah.
because that's the way they ended the podcast.
But don't
But
you
no,
see
it's
in
the
his
scene
eyes?
where him and is it Michael Park? Oh God, I'm sorry, I got your
Michael
name
Parks,
wrong.
it
So
is.
yeah,
Michael
Michael
Parks.
Parks. When him and Long have the walrus fight,
Oh my god.
you know, and
Ooh, that's the
love that.
cheesiest part of
it
her.
took me.
It really,
But again, I understand why it needed to be there.
but it's so
And
goofy.
is
It's
there
like two
ano-
guys in inflatable weird suits
Is there
like
an-
banging into each other.
And again, it's the only reason it's an unfair criticism because how else do you show two people in walrus suits having a having a fight?
Exactly.
You can't. You
And-
can't.
And that's where you go. It is a comedy, after all, or maybe, or is it? I don't know, but it doesn't
It's not
matter.
a-
It
it's
is
not
what
a
it
comedy,
is.
man.
It's
It is
this
just-
thing.
It is what it is.
I like what Q said.
and it's
Q-
my favorite walrus-based film. I mean,
Mine too.
Q said
number one.
yes.
You did it, Kevin. You did it.
Do you remember? Do you remember? You'd be up at like 2 a.m. and you see Tales from the Dark Side.
Oh my God, the
where they would
Grither.
flip it. You know that to me not to me. Q nailed it. He said that reminded me of an episode
Oh,
of Tales from the Dark
Tales from the
Side.
Dark Side.
Maybe that's where he was
There-
going.
There is
Maybe
an
that's where he
episode.
was going with that because Kevin watched that.
There's an episode
Oh.
of Tales from the Dark Side. If we could find it, it was a story,
are
and
no
I'll never
luck with that
forget it.
mic
It
today.
scared the shit out of a young little Dennis. It was
Aw.
called The Grither, and it's about God. Do you remember the bad guy from UHF?
Vaguely.
All right, he's been in a lot
UHF.
of stuff. UHF, the Weird
the
Weird Al.
Weird Al
But
movie. I
can't
just
remember
recently rewatched that. It's great. It's
Yeah,
great. It holds up.
I agree.
The bad guy from that, and he's playing
Probably better now than it was back
amazingly
then.
enough, he's playing a grandpa, and his and grandma are sitting in front of these big windows. You have to remember these big, long windows, and there's big high back, wingback chairs, and they're telling this story to their grandkids. And it's a story about the Grither, and it's this Christmas-based thing. And the Grither is this monster that lives at the North Pole, and it has big white arms and
Like a bumble.
like big red veins and blue veins going up its arms. And when you say the Grither's name, he hears you, and he doesn't like to hear his name, so he starts coming for you. So the whole episode is building, and the more you say his name, he starts to walk, and his ears grow. And the more you say his name, his ears grow larger and larger, and he starts moving, and then he can fly, and he starts homing in on you. So as grandma and grandpa are telling this story, spoilers are coming, by the way, ladies, spoilers are coming. As the Grither starts to fly, and at the end, the kids are like saying, Grither, Grither, Grither. They're having all this good time. Oh, you don't want to do that, So it ends up being where, at the end of the story, oh, grandma, grandpa, was that just a story? And he's like, yeah, that was just a story. Don't be scared. Oh, you shouldn't have told that story, grandpa. I'm sorry, mother, And all of a sudden you hear boom. And in through the windows come these huge hands that are covered in white and gray and just big monster hands grab grandma and grandpa by the head and start squeezing their fucking heads, and they're the kids are and then they're dead, and then the hands slowly retract, and they end the fucking episode, and it was terrifying.
Oh my God. He didn't do anything to the kids?
No, they just grabbed grandma and grandpa and cracked open their skulls and left the kids there with the horror of witnessing it and living the rest of their lives.
Grandpa.
With their heads fucking
anyway.
crushed.
They're annoying anyway.
Old people.
Worthless.
So what do we got up on? We got the Canadian, the Great White North trilogy.
Yes.
Yoga Hosers, and then was it Moose Jaws?
Moose Jaws is next, and then we ended with no, Yoga Hosers next, and we ended with Moose Jaws.
With Moose Jaws.
Yeah. And now the big news
coming in.
Is Silent Bob going to die in a Moose
that
Jaws?
Can't be.
Yeah, and from the latest rumblings are that it may be
he's going to kill the character.
Yeah, he's going to kill, because here's why. In Moose Jaws is Jaws with a moose. And along the way, he decided to write the Quint character in as Jay and Silent Bob.
Oh.
And if you're following the Jaws storyline, Quint buys it.
Quint
Spoilers. Is eaten by a shark in a very horrifying manner.
Yeah, the head, the tail.
Since
for 10,000, I'll get you the whole damn fish.
I look like a doll's eyes.
Like a doll's eyes.
That's another thing with guys. It doesn't matter.
Cage goes in the water.
They just know quotes from movies way better than girls.
Farewell and adieu to you, Spanish ladies.
Or there may be gals out there that do know quotes from movies, but every guy I've ever known can quote.
Jaws is
I think
fucking patient zero.
You get the right guys together, and they can have a 5-minute conversation and achieve an objective by communicating.
I don't even know what that was about, other than us saying, "Look, we both watch Jaws a lot."
No, but I think that you give it enough time. I think you get the right guy, the right group of guys together. They can have a conversation based on nothing but movie quotes.
Yeah,
and not like obscure ones, like when that's all that time where George Clooney said, "Pass me the butter."
That's all I text Kevin with.
Just movie quotes.
Send the movie quotes.
My God.
That's all I do.
What is that
Dennis
from?
wants to text Kevin.
It's so funny because
Dennis wants to be your friend.
And what's even neater is like you'll hear in a show, you'll pick up a line and you go, "Holy shit, they like that movie too." That's like when I was listening once and they quoted Ishtar. I'm like, fucking Ishtar? I knew it. I knew it because my friend and I, we loved Ishtar.
We've had a couple PBR podcasts where we've been able to record. We've been able to record with like Mike and Sam. Sorry, Mike and Sam down at the Secret Stash.
Right.
And they've been there at the
Mike and Ming or Sam and
Ming. I'm sorry, Sam and Ming. They've been able to record there. And I remember there was an episode Dennis couldn't make it, and I wasn't even sure if I was ready to enter in those hallowed halls. I feel like I need to go through some kind of a purification ritual. Like I need to atone for certain, pop culture sins that I've committed in the name of selfishness. And I just I'm not ready, to see, Saint Walter.
Yeah.
Lay your hands upon my head and tell me that I am good.
There was one week you guys were supposed to record at the Stash for the first time.
And
you got bumped for some reason. But we got you that week.
Ew. Dick.
Yeah, I think so.
Asshole.
Very much like that.
This interview's over.
Then there was another time, I don't know if you guys were the guests, but it was true. Sam and Ming were having somebody on, and we were supposed to record there with Marco, and it might have been you guys, but they kicked us out of the Stash, but it was all right because we ended up recording in the View Askew offices. So we failed up.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I think you may that may have been the night that they were there.
I think it might have been too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
I don't know. I think it's like their personal. Sometimes
our paths have been like, we're like those two kids circling each other in the schoolyard.
Well, I don't know if you want to fuck with Mike. He's a wonderful man. And he will finish what other people want to start.
I get it.
I tell you, when I had him on, he's one of those. He reminds me of those guys in school that would fucking kick my ass or be intimidating and shit.
Yeah, he's not that.
I know he's not.
The real Mike. He's so generous and he's smart. And he doesn't give himself enough credit for how smart he is.
He comes off with that Jersey.
If this ever gets back to him, I deny it. Dennis does not believe in anything he's saying. But no, you know, really it's, Mike is, there is no Dennis unless there's a Mike, and Dennis knows that immediately. Dennis gets to be Dennis because of Mike, and and then
You're
also
like a character that they've created.
Yeah, I'm a demon of their own summoning.
Say that to Reverend Bob Levy and see what he says.
But and then Derek, when he came on board, he's, I don't know if the word is polyglot or polymath. He's just one of these guys that's just good at everything he does. He hosts well. But
you're talking
Derek D.
Derek D.
Yeah, Derek D. He's very, again, he's so nice, quick, funny, shows up, does the work, and
it's important for him. He said it's very important to be on time.
Yeah, I have to say, when you guys sort of like restarted and rebranded, it was like,
it was scary.
Yeah, it was like,
it was scary.
What's happening here? What's going on with their
we
show?
had to, it was like Pizza Beer Revolution grew up. And
but here's the thing, though. Like, I would often refer to you guys as, you want a good model for how to base your website as a podcast or how to do this. And then one day you were like, where the fuck did they go?
Right. there was some.
Okay, don't base it on them. Apparently, it's like, oh my god, what happened to them?
It was one of those things where we were getting. Again, I'm only the intern, so it's not like these decisions get discussed with me. But it was one of those situations, I think, where.
And Mike was on the show and talked about it.
Yeah, so. It was one of those situations where it was like, we didn't hit a wall, or there wasn't like a ceiling we couldn't bust through, but the name of the podcast became like a talking point.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, come on, PBR, we're going to talk about this, we're going to talk about that. These are things we like to do. Come and play.
We talked
come
about
over
this.
And play. Because our podcast is,
it's a chat-based show. I mean,
it's
Film
what,
Steve Dave.
It's the revolution.
You guys have bits, which is great. Prepared.
Right. The bits are there to sort of
get conversation.
Yeah.
Going.
Get someone off their talking points and just be real.
This is like what I said to Mike. I go the opposite way. But if you guys were running problems, I obviously changing it makes sense. But I always saw
it was a big decision.
It
wasn't done.
I personally love the ordering of the pizza at the beginning.
I
thought that always like that was like, hey, the show's start, let's see what this. You could kind of get a vibe of your guest, of who's coming just by that. Oh, he's an anchovy guy. Ew.
It might be good. Yeah, right. Maybe we could talk to bringing an element of that back once in a while, or at least maybe talking to the guests before they get there and just be like, hey, what do you want on your pie?
Yeah.
I
like but sometimes you need to go away from something.
I get it.
And then you can kind of bring it back on your own.
Well, we've done that too.
Yeah.
But
I didn't name. We used to not have. The original for this show was like the antithesis of Bone Crushing Juggernaut, which show. So we weren't going to name episodes. We weren't, it was going to be guest driven. Over time, like not putting someone's guest. I was like, we weren't going to put the guest name in the title because then we want all the guests to be equal. So if it's a listener or a fan, they're just as equal as Kevin Smith.
Right.
That was the original thing.
We didn't want
but then
anybody
was
to
the
feel
problem
like
over time. Everyone would go, I can't find the fucking show I'm on. Can you help us?
Well, things, there's what you want, and then you got to put it into practice.
Yes.
So when PBR, version 2.0,
you can change it. You don't have to fucking go to a gatekeeper.
The only thing it felt like we were, in my opinion, it was like
starting over.
Kind of starting over a little bit, but that's good too because it's hustle. How are we going to do this? People know us as Pizza Beer Revolution. Now we got to be PBR. What does that mean? Now that we're PBR, are we professional bull riders? No.
Well, but I think there is one. There is a professional bull rider, isn't there?
Who?
There is
I would hope
on our
not.
show? God, I hope that's
no.
not a bit. Do not make me a professional bull rider.
Oh yeah, there you go.
There is a PBR.
Get a mechanical bull
there is a
downstairs, get rid
PBR
of the
that's
pool
professional
table.
bull riders.
Yeah, right. That's an association.
That's
but you know what I mean?
Association,
but it needed to be. How do we?
Okay.
How is it as a quote unquote business? How do we keep the feeling of what people fell in love with for Pizza Beer Revolution? But how do we grow that up in not a way that seems cloying, as a way that seems like
I got
like all of a sudden like oh look, now we're all fancy because we have PB. So and I think that again to Mike and Derek's credit, we did that great, and I don't think we missed a step, and I think as the show grew up,
what I was more fascinated by was that I guess I thought I gave more credit to the audience than because I really didn't think that the audience would be that, oh, is it a food show?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But I guess at the end of the day, there are people out there who are
Well,
like, is it a food show? Is it a beer show?
Like,
can't assume.
I'm a hipster.
You're not talking about beer. Like,
We're not
I
talking
never
about
even,
beer, talking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
pizza.
but
we
I
did.
never ever got
We
that
had like
from your
what
show.
we'd be sipping on, or
Yeah.
what beer best represents you,
Yeah.
and then we had like the ordering the pizza in the beginning and kind of talk about anchovies.
Look, I'm going to talk you guys going back to format.
No, but again, we kind of passed that, you know,
Yeah, I got you.
and and again, we're not going to expect.
But then as
that
we
our
analyzed
guests-
it, I even realized, holy shit, I kind of did it too, because the first time Joe Maffei was on this show,
Yeah, I remember Joe was on here.
I was kind of like, well, so what would I do on the show? Because I don't drink. So I was being that dick.
Well,
You know what I mean? I was
it's not,
kinda like,
it's not being a dick. It's just that, it's sort of like the cover didn't really match the content.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't drink. They
you
have me
don't
on the
drink.
show.
I don't eat pizza.
I know.
And
I
we
fucking
saw
hate
it,
pizza.
And even though it was important, yes, what does Mike always say? Pizza and beer get you in a room. It's all about the revolution.
Yeah.
So,
which I like. I like that.
yeah, it's
I
great.
do
And,
too.
First time
and
you told
I
me
miss that. but again, the idea is that, we want to build this space where we can get to know you, where you can, but we can't do that if you don't understand that that's what we want to do.
Well, and I think I even said it to Mike, or it may have been Kelly yesterday, that it's when you bring like food and wine or beer or whatever, it's like a place to like gather.
It's a gathering, yeah,
a gathering.
right,
Like people get comfortable with.
Come
food.
sit at our table.
Come sit at
And
yeah.
let's. But again, people would, again, like you said, people would see the title of it. Oh, Pizza Beer Revolution. Oh, this must be about craft breweries. This must be about artisanal pizzas.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that was
such a shame.
obviously that wasn't everybody, because we had the PBR posse, we have our fans all over the world, and I'm sorry,
Joker
listeners,
fans,
Listeners,
we
yeah.
have our
crossover
listeners so
and-
douchey. They're fans.
We like
I'm
to,
sorry, I don't
we
have
like
a
to say
fan.
listeners, but
we all fall into that trap every now and then.
Yeah, we
You
do.
can't
But
help it.
we have our listeners, and and they get it,
right.
which is podcasting. You have your listeners and they understand it. But if we want to present more to our listeners, which is really all we want to do, we want to entertain you, make you think, maybe find, if I can make you laugh, change your mind about something, or make you feel okay about what you're already thinking, well, then we're there. We're great. And if we have a good time doing it, even better.
Yeah.
But to do that,
here
we
was
needed
my
to
thought about it.
change
I
a
mean,
little bit.
I remember seeing when I saw your show originally, I was like, wow, this is brilliant, because it is. I mean, you can kind of, there's like 10 podcasts, maybe. So 10 types of podcasts that you could probably peg.
Yeah.
There's
Donner, Blitzen.
Yeah. Well, there's
orange, green, blue.
There's wholly scripted shows that are like, old timey radio programs.
What was that? There's hold on. I'm gonna see if I can name what you're naming. So let me see if I can do this. We'll see how good I am. There's that podcast
with the purple cover.
With the purple
yeah,
cover.
I can't think of its name right now either.
It's done by Acker and Blacker.
It's that name. It's the name of a town, and they built a whole fictional town around.
No, not like Lake Wobegon. Like
no. That's fucking what's his name?
Oh, that's a Prairie Home.
Not Prairie Home Companion.
Yeah. No. What do you call it?
Serious?
No,
Theater.
it's always in one of the top. It's always in like the top 10 podcasts. It's not Serial.
It's not Serial.
Serial is huge.
Serial.
But that's
Did
another
so
one,
much
and
for
that's
our
sort of
industry.
new. Yeah. That's
Well, what a boner ending. It is at the end. I mean, yes, it was compelling. People who had no idea what a podcast was started listening to podcasts
because they like procedurals.
Or what? Serial?
Yeah,
Is it done
podcast.
Well,
Serial's
yeah,
over?
They're working on season 2.
They sort of, that's another thing they did for everyone. They said, like, how did we miss the concept of a season before them?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's all over fucking TV.
Thank you, Ira Glass, and the good people at
Ira
I can't.
Glass. Yeah.
No, I mean, we kind of do it as annual, but yeah, breaking that up, I think, is more digestible to people. Like,
I can't remember. So back to the point, the scripted shows, I can't remember it, but I know it was done by Acker and Blacker. Oh God, Nathan Fillion's been on it. They've got like Sheriff on Mars. Oh,
Frank Conniff does one.
Frank
Conniff, formerly of Mystery Science Theater.
Okay.
He's in the movie. That's why I'm bringing him up. Or he's going to be.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of Misty fans too,
mm-hmm.
as I am. Any pictures? No. Looking around for Tom.
Where's Crow? You don't have Crow up here?
I have a picture of
Tom Servo.
I had an actual Tom Servo at one point and got destroyed in the move.
So sad.
But back to the other thing, it's like, again, the branding, the rebranding, we had to figure out to provide even better product, to give our listeners even more, if the name was getting in the way of that, then the name needed to change. Because
it really didn't. You just put the bounce in a different syllable, if you will.
Yeah, we put the emphasis on a different syllable.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I forget what that's from, but yes, exactly. Yeah. Yes. And well, we've been going for about an hour and a half now, sir.
Yeah, we can stay all day.
Well, you can stay all day.
Oh, football's about to start soon.
Are you a football guy?
I am.
Do you believe? Well, Mike and I touched on this briefly. Apparently, Mike and Derek are on two different wavelengths.
Okay.
He believes that football is at its zenith and is about to begin its decline, and I agree with Mike.
Yeah.
Whereas,
I'll tell you what I think. Very rarely does Dennis get asked that.
What do you?
You're going to start seeing it. It's gonna die from the bottom, not at the top, because as more and more things come out about the injuries and the way the game is played now, where defense doesn't really get on SportsCenter unless they blow someone up, and not everyone gets a chance to make an interception so they can get on their highlight reel. So they have to go in there and explode people because the big hits get on the show, get mentions from on all the sports shows.
Mm-hmm.
But
big hits are also the things that's destroying people's brains.
Right. That's the stuff that's hurting people. But even at the lower level, so Pop Warner, more, I think less, I don't know what the stats are. Sydney Lesperance, if you have the stats, she's one of our listeners from PBR. I think that there's a dwindling number of people entering Pop Warner. Parents are putting their kids in other sports because of the racking of the body and how, they're finding out that concussions are cumulative.
Here's the other thing. As someone, I'm not a sports guy, but here's the thing that I look at football and go, what a worthless sport. No real human being can play it anymore. You have to be a 500-pound monster, or you have to be huge. You have to be a monster, a freak, genetic freak.
I think that a lot of that is the padding.
No, it's not. Remember the fridge? Remember when the fridge was like the biggest guy? He's small in comparison today.
Well, I think that they're also mentioning. Yes. I think was it Mike Ditka. Ditka said that you want to make this safer for people, give them less pads. So they said you want to teach proper tackling, you got to take the face masks off. Ooh. The fact is that because these guys are so armored up,
they think they're invincible.
They can run through people.
What they don't realize is that their brain is in a little a little bit of fluid, and when it hits your skull, it's like it doesn't matter what caused it. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's concussion. It's not.
I heard I don't know, the story is great. I think Jimmy Graham he's a tight end for the Saints, and I heard the story about him, but the way I heard it is he was representative of a couple elite receivers in the NFL last year when they had the helmet to helmet, the big helmet to helmet rule about going on there, getting called for flags. So a lot of the defenses were starting to tackle lower so that they wouldn't have to worry about wouldn't have to worry about getting a flag and a penalty. So the story I heard is that he went up to the defense of the other team and said, "Don't go low on me. I'm going to play as hard as I can. You play as hard as you can, but you tackle me high." He goes, "Because I can come back from a concussion. I can't come back if you tear my knee. You're going to end my career."
It's all crazy.
And and he said, any fines you get, I'll pay them. If you get a fine for going low on me,
this is all fucking crazy.
It is.
But as I sit here and think, all right, I'm on fucking George Carlin's thing. I think if you guys want to play war on the field, we should fucking mine it. I really do. We should put some claymores down there. We should put some fucking razor wire on that end zone.
But yeah, I think
let's see how about a timed exploding ball? You'd see a lot more passing.
I think you would.
I see a lot more handoffs.
I do think the NFL's having a problem, or will be seeing a problem starting at the root.
Oh, definitely.
As parents don't want to, put their kids into these things, and there's going to be parents who are
going to maniacs are the other way around. Yeah. I'll fucking show you. I'll give my kid brain damage just to show you it's a safe sport.
I've got a big dick because my son is amazing at football.
Yes, exactly.
And as
he's everything I wasn't.
That talent won't be developed, and the game in itself, I think, it'll be like a thermostat. The game will come
so
lower.
serious too.
Yeah,
the game.
The game
Oh my
will come.
God.
It'll like
It's
the
a
talent
game.
will
You're
be
saying
a
the game.
little less, and the hits won't be as good, and things will normalize that way. That's just Dennis's.
I think football is a walking paradox.
Mhm.
I mean, everybody talks about the team values. Yeah, what are the team values? They're hitting, destroying. If you're a big enough bully, you'll win. There are a lot of underlying values that you see in the fucking stands. You don't even have to watch the game. It's the fans.
But at its
they're
pure,
maniacs.
in its purest
They
form,
get
though.
drunk and beat the shit out of everybody in sight.
But
Yeah, but there's
that's
some
soccer,
teams.
and
There's
that's
some
you know, that's
teams.
Go to a fucking Phillies game and
Oh,
tell me
yeah.
how nice it is.
No, you're right. I mean, some of the fans they get a little.
Yeah, but Philly,
Insane.
Philly
Yeah.
has.
But that's not the
bad-
sport. That's the fans.
Philly,
It's violent.
Philly,
It is.
It's a violent frenzy. It's
Well, that
Philly
again, that's the fans.
See, but you know what? I shouldn't even say just Philly. Pennsylvania fans have a bad rap because they
only have one team. It's not like here
Well,
where we
they've
have
got-
two teams.
they got a
They too.
football.
No, they got one team per sport. Like
No,
okay, they
they've
got
got-
Philly. They've got the
They
got
have
the Eagles.
and the Steelers.
They have the Eagles and the Steelers.
Those, that's not Philly. That's Pittsburgh.
But that's
dude.
what I
That's
mean.
a
I'm saying
whole.
Pennsylvania.
Oh,
different
she's
fucking
talking
thing.
about Pennsylvania.
I was just
Yeah,
saying
you're talking
Pennsylvania
Pennsylvania as a
in
state.
general.
No,
The
Philly.
Steelers.
Philly. Fuck the Steelers if you're from Philly.
Yeah. but
Yeah, but the fans there.
But yeah,
can
I mean
be
they're
intense.
crazy. They're
Not-
crazy.
well,
They're
not
crazy.
everywhere.
no, but look,
They're
but that's everywhere.
fanatics. Hence the
You
term.
know, I mean, they've invented the term nerd rage. You know what I mean? Like everybody has
That's
their
true. And, and
everybody has
troll.
their teams. Everyone has the things they root. Now, sometimes your team is a sport, but sometimes your team is a piece of pop culture that you love and care for. Han
But-
shot
okay,
first, and
okay,
people
that-
go nuts.
That's fine.
Yeah, but
However, every week or day
They
in day
drum-
out, look at us beat the shit out of each other. It's wonderful.
but what do you? If
Look
you
at the brain damage going on in front of you people.
well, all right, yes, there's some
They're
certain physical things, but not
mutilating
everybody's a
us.
football
Oh, that's
player.
only new now. So
Was
hang
it
on.
George
Brain
Lucas?
injuries.
I think I remember George Lucas said he doesn't want to make movies anymore.
Yeah.
And whether he
has that
should or
right.
whether he
has
shouldn't,
that right.
whether he should or whether he shouldn't, it's up to him.
Exactly.
But the fact is, he's just like, I think you remember reading, he said
But this is why I believe like
he
football's
doesn't
on
want
a
to do it
decline.
anymore,
Yeah.
because he's like, I put one thing in the movie and, the internet explodes.
Everybody hates
raped
me.
my childhood
Yeah,
and blah,
yeah.
blah. Han shot first. And he did shoot first. And all you assholes who think he didn't are wrong. And
Yeah.
I'm on that team.
Yes.
And Dennis means that. Han shot first.
Yes. It was a movie. It was the 70s. You
It-
could do that shit.
Right.
He
But,
was going to be shot. It was imminent.
but like that kid that was Anakin in the Phantom Menace, it ruined his life. It should be like an amazing thing. But now
Did it ruin his life?
it ruined
Did it really?
The little kid?
The little
Is there a
Anakin.
documentary on him or something?
Oh, maybe you should start one.
I
I don't know if he wants to talk about it, but yeah, him being Anakin, saying words, being in a movie ruined his life.
Oh,
I know, because he has to
no.
put up with the
You know?
fact that he was a horrible actor at that
What,
age.
what did he do wrong?
No, he just read. He read his lines.
Hayden Christensen, that he was
Here-
terrible.
As far as I'm concerned, the character was lost as soon as they gave him the nickname Annie.
Annie,
Yeah, it was
but he was a
done.
little kid.
I know, but
My
still-
thing was,
yeah, but she was still calling him that when he was fucking, 19 or whatever.
my issue was everything was lost when I had to ask myself, why would this woman want to be with this man? And I couldn't find a reason why
okay, how about
Padme was in love with Anakin.
I did a whole show of Joe and I talked about it on a Bone Crushing Juggernaut. The political system, how I felt that
the trade routes and
a lot of it went awry in George Lucas's realizing, oh shit, wait, she's that's a monarchy.
yeah.
I want to show that they're free, and so I'll make it. And so suddenly she's a queen, but now she's a senator.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like all this stuff got weird
It
because
did. He got all wrapped up in like trade routes.
Yeah, yeah.
And,
Like,
and embargoes. And you're
have
like,
a 7-year-old explain you episode 2.
you can't. I can't explain episode 2.
Exactly. No one can. Everyone can tell you that Yoda fucking get a great
Yeah,
lightsaber
right.
battle, but the rest of that movie is utterly forgotten.
It is, and it's
And
like
it's so complicated in terms of its plot.
it is. And at some point, it's like, am I watching space opera?
You
or
were
am I
watching espionage.
C-SPAN?
You were watching like political espionage, but it was like so disjointed from its, like you were watching the result of a setup that happened years prior. You know?
Yeah, but and here's the thing:
And you weren't even sure. Did he do it or did he not do it?
But that was the internet communities. That was the you were talking about like hooligans. People in Philly, Philly football throwing snowballs at Santa Claus and getting into fist fights and hurting people because they're wearing different clothes than you.
I'm not shitting on it because
that's
I'm
the
saying
nerd.
Here are real criticisms.
Yeah,
the plot was very hard to follow. I'm a fan.
Right.
Phantom Menace was probably the cleanest of those movies in terms of plot structure.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But what I'm saying is that like you look at sports about the violence and you're saying, you have all these people that are beating up on each other because they have different clothes on.
Exactly.
I'm wearing red and you're wearing blue
for no reason whatsoever.
For very little reason at all. Of course, alcohol seems to provide you with all kinds of different reasons. So you have that. I root for this team. You root for that team. Let's punch each other in the face until we fall down.
Even when I was a kid, that's why I never got sports. I'm like, wait a minute.
But there's a version of that.
They have no loyalty.
There's the pop culture version of that, which is this kid that played Anakin, who did the work. He's getting his life was he hates the fact that he's part of this movie. And again, that's just the fanboys version of you're wearing different clothes than me. Punch, 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 punch.
I don't think the parallel's that
well, at least
apples to apples.
At least in a fist fight, you get up, you have a funny story, maybe you got a black eye that lasts you for a week or two. This poor kid, left schools. I think I remember reading should be, geez, if Dennis had a podcast, that would be called I think I remember reading.
This all came from, do you think football's at its zenith? I think it's at its zenith. I think it will only begin to decline. I don't know.
It depends because you know what? Football's like the perfect television sport. So, as long as, and I think sometimes they're pushing a little too much product.
There's so much propaganda involved in football. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that's why.
There's a lot of, they're pushing a lot. I mean, the weeks that they play keeps getting longer. They've added Thursday games. Eventually these guys are going to be broken and bloody at week 17. It's like, I can't see hike, but I think that, the problem is with baseballs, there's so much baseball. And baseball goes on for so long.
Talking about sports on this show.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
This is like a fucking show. We never talk sports. You never have to worry about sports coming up in this show.
But let's go Mets.
Yes, Mets. Mets is different.
Yeah. Thank you.
We've been paying those dues a while.
A long time.
So much so I can't even watch them. Because when I watch them, I just get too frustrated.
Oh my god, you get so much anxiety.
I hope they win. For Cameron's sake.
Yeah, that's for our son. But he gets like so antsy. Scott gets so antsy watching a game. Like he can't sit still. He stands up. He starts wringing his hands. He gets so upset.
I pace.
It's horrible.
I ended up actually.
It's like someone's having a baby.
I would become a radio guy. Like during last time, 2006, when the Mets were in the playoffs, I stopped watching. I'd listen on the radio because I didn't get as intense that way.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't see it. Like, I can't see him fuck up. I can hear about it after the fact. It's a little different. All right. Well, I very much appreciate you being on.
Thanks for having me.
PBR Pod, another plug. Where can we find the PBR? I
want to make sure I get this right. It is
do it right.
PBRpodcast.com. You can find us on Stitcher, iTunes, anywhere you listen to podcasts. We're there. At PBR Pod is our Twitter. I'm at Dennis the Intern, at M Polano, at the Derek D. A lot of ways.
You guys are very into the social network and all that stuff. When you go to your site, it's always like, bam.
We just love interacting with her. The PBR posse is great.
Yeah, you guys were very big into the fucking, what do you call it? The
pussy.
Pussy, yeah.
No. Very big into the pussy.
the fucking Periscope.
Oh yeah,
yes.
Yeah, they like mad.
They like the Periscope. Yeah. Get those hearts.
We do a little Periscope, but we end up forgetting more often than doing it.
Yeah, I like the hearts too.
Yes.
That was always cool.
I always think the hearts look like jizz, so I go.
Oh yeah.
Just down the corner makes it look like.
We can have a whole podcast dedicated to that.
You want to talk about?
You want to get into that?
That's like the happy ending all over.
Yeah, I didn't get to talk about it. I came here all Kevin Smithed out. I got jean shorts on, shoes with no socks.
Yeah, no sock and no. But no,
I don't have a hockey sweater.
I almost wore one, but it warmed up.
It did get warm. Maybe I'll get one that says the Intern on it.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, good.
I'll know where to send you. I'll send you the VSQ Hockey League.
Yeah,
that's where I get my last shirt.
You can get one made.
I'll get one made that says. Well, I want to get a PBR logo on the front.
There you go.
You can get that too.
I get a PBR logo, and on the back it says the Intern.
Yeah. Oh,
it's not a podcast until someone yells for Dennis. Can someone please yell for Dennis?
Dennis!
Oh, come on, more. You need me.
Actually, I got to. Now there is no. Once again, Ben Gumry has not provided us with.
Very rarely a lady yells my name. Can we
with the Smed lines this week? We're Smed lineless. He sent me the theme accidentally, I think. So I don't have Smed lines, but I do have a Tesdy groupie. So without any further ado, let's get Tesdy groupie's pick of the week for this week. I hope it's for this week. It wasn't like the last time, and it's the same file. But
and then I will call for Dennis.
Call for Dennis,
and then you'll call for Dennis. But in the meantime, I'm going to mute us so we can hear this thing. ThatMan on Fatman presents At Tesdy Groupies. Tell 'em Steve Dave. Pick of the week.
Hi, and welcome to the TSD Pick of the Week. Even though Tell 'em Steve Dave has a Stitcher Award for entertainment and pop culture, TSD is much more than that. And at some point, the topics from the news going on have a place bigger or smaller in some episodes. And if we look to the TSD guys, we'll know the event that has been the center of last week on Twitter. The life punishment on Impractical Jokers and the Save Q hashtag. But don't worry, I won't be talking about TSD 258, at least not yet. I am sure that you, as I, have listened to it already several times. I will focus on one of the moments that puts Q on the map, and was a favorite for a long time, and that you can see awesomely recreated in the TSD Puppet DVD. Boy, do the visuals make it even more epic. So, let's go right for it and talk about this week's pick. TSD 20, Sure to Displease. The podcast starts talking about Walt's sort of pool party, with the food arrangements, he fixing the porch swing, and an important faux pas. Love every time Walt said it, so I couldn't resist. Then, after having their first sponsor, the Sure Mike's competition winners are going to be announced. Before doing so, the guys talk about fireworks, and Brad being deputized as a store security guard. After this, the winner is announced. Another demand for photos for the Not So Super Bowl contest is done, as at that point, there were only 26 days left in the contest. And so, we go to the first weekly bit. Walt asks J.S.R. for the intro music, and a name is requested from Twitter. And so, 1 through 3 is born. And we go to Q's stories, after Walt tells him not to screw it up. Do you remember Q's stories? Either way, I hope you listen to it, I hope you enjoy it, and you're all the way.
And there you have Tesdy Groupie's pick of the week. Although I'm not even sure. That might have been a repeat or it might not have been. I'm
what kind of show are we running here, man?
Dude, since I fucking started this movie, I am so out of fucking sorts.
I just love the yo-ho and that Walter's the one who said it.
Yeah. I even sent out an apology the other day. I'm like, for those who are into our social media, and we're doing this movie thing and it's kind of affecting us. So we apologize if we seem disconnected or
disconnected.
Yeah. So yeah, and she's from Barcelona, Spain, and we discovered,
Barcelona.
Yes, and like, where else do you find? We were fascinated. She's like, we had this fan from Barcelona who was like, let's Tell 'em Steve Day. She's a fan of Tell 'em Steve Day. This doesn't happen.
It's amazing. It's just, it's, you know what? It's like, it's
I think
so...
she listens to PBR too.
Yeah,
PBR
good.
Yeah. And I do believe.
I popped you out again.
You keep popping me out.
I know.
He keeps popping his wife right there in front of me. It's amazing.
Hubba.
That's very
blow your mind, dude. You know,
Dennis is a little inappropriate.
Dude, it would blow your mind
too.
You invited the beast into your cage.
You know how? Did you know that this is a fact? Bible guy. Do you know that Moses had to wear a fucking bag on his head after he asked to see God's face, but God wouldn't let him see his face because no human could handle it. So he let him see the back of his shoulder. And after seeing the back of God's shoulder, Moses' head would glow so bright no one could look at it. So he had to wear a bag on his head. That's in the Bible.
Wow. How do I know
100%.
Where is that in the Bible?
That is in the Bible.
Because the Bible.
I'll
told
give
me
you the
so.
facts next week.
Is
I will
that the
come.
New Testament or the Old Testament?
That is in the Old Testament.
Moses is old.
Moses Old
He's in
Testament.
the Old
yeah.
Testament.
Yeah.
Okay. I did go to Catholic school.
I was going to
sorry.
say, you can spot a Catholic a mile away.
Yeah.
I don't know
of
anything about the
the-
Testaments.
And you know what's so sad about that?
I'm
Is that's
I was
so
Catholic once too.
True.
Oh,
But
yeah,
you know
yeah.
a lot more.
Wait, we have to.
So how do we do this?
That's cost an independent study.
I have to roll these.
Roll those dice and we'll find out what your alignment was.
What
Thanks
my
for-
alignment is?
Yes, and cool thing is they'll probably come out on camera.
Oh, hold on.
I
Evil
can't.
neutral.
Oh, you're neutral evil. That's a pretty bad alignment. That's
That's
let's see,
about right.
We can't trust you, and you're evil.
It's about right.
He is
Well,
so
there
not
you go.
evil.
No, you seem like a nice guy.
Thank you. As
He
long as I
fucking came here on
seem
a
that way,
dime
that's
note.
what we need to do. I have to work on how I
Did you just say he
Very much,
seems
yes, he
nice?
seemed like, well, how do do I go home with him? Do I do his inventory? I mean, you know what I mean?
You seem.
You seem like a very nice guy.
Thank you.
In the 5 minutes I've gotten to know you,
That's
in
like
your
a Dexter
life.
vibe. You seem nice, but
now I'm going to cut you to ribbons.
all right. So can I get a quick Dennis yell so I can
You do-
wrap this up well?
I'm not good at yelling, but okay. Yes! Scared the
Perfect.
shit out of my
That was a
cat.
good one.
Scared the shit out of my cat.
Perfect.
Ooh, you're in
If you-
trouble now.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Now it feels like I did a podcast.
There you go.
You're
Well,
gonna
I'm
be
glad we
punished,
could give
young
that
man.
to you.
Yeah.
So I guess at this point we can wrap it. Oh, let me pull up some music before I do this so I can be more pro. Oh, yeah, baby.
Oh, and I forget to mention Patreon for
Oh,
PBR
yeah.
Oh,
Podcast.
yes.
Patreon?
And Patreon for us as well.
Patreon. Yeah.
We're both Patreon shows.
Yeah.
Another thing we stole from you. Seemed like,
See,
and I think we all
It's
actually
the
stole
highest
it.
form of compliment.
I think we
right?
stole it from
It
stole
is.
it from Angry Ginger though too.
What is that saying? What is the highest form of flattery?
Parodies or what do you call it?
Copying somebody.
Yeah.
Blowjobs.
Sincerest
Happy
form of
endings.
flattery.
Happy
Yeah.
endings are the
sincerest
sincerest form of compliment.
They surely are. I will agree there.
You did such a great job. Yeah, you know what? Get over here, pal.
I'm going to come over and jack you off.
That's a nice compliment.
You need this.
No, I need to do this.
Yes. Or whatever. It's
I
all
wonder if
good.
that's what it's more about.
Just
Is it more
remember.
about giving or in that?
What?
It's not gay as
Happy
long as
ending.
you're in the that cave.
Oh, I need to leave the fat cave. Oh yeah, it's starting to smell a little weird.
Well, what can you do?
Well, thank you for having me. This has been a great time.
It was
a lot of
awesome
fun.
having
I'm
you.
glad that you came.
And
Thank you.
for everyone out there, if no one has told you today, you're smart and good, and we'll catch you next time. See ya.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Welcome friends to Funky Land, the streets are paved with stone. We got two schools in this here land that's new on their own. Take a walk down Slanky Street, don't you worry, you can't get beat. Throw yourself like I'm a bro and feel your body just start to move. It's down in Funky Land, it's down in Funky Land. It's down in Funky Land, it's down in Funky Land. Funky Land, the beats are sweet, the bass is moving fast. People ballin', gathering halls, and you know what's up with that. Step right up and party down. All you got to lose is a sorry ass sound. Life just seems to never be bland when you're taking it down in Funky Land. It's down in Funky Land, it's down in Funky Land. It's down in Funky Land, it's down in Funky Land.
Hey, baby.
Don't you worry, in Funky Land, the ladies are so fine. Light just jumps out from their eyes and their mouths seem to shine. So come on down, it's the place to be. It's a It's down in Funkyland. It's down in Funkyland.
Go get him, that man.